just a bloke in a bar.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. And look, am I excited? Yes, I am, because we are drawing the Mazda BT-50. So let's get straight into it. Let's just look. Honestly, guys, no disrespect. Don't care how you're feeling. Don't care how your weekend was. I care about giving a prize away. You feel slightly offended by that?
That is a little bit rude, but yeah, that's fine. Things to do.
Mazda BT-50 has to be given. Let's do it. Alrighty, I am so excited because now it is time to finally draw the Mazda BT-50. That is all thanks to Aspley Mazda. It is all thanks to Lukey, who is on the phone with me right now. First of all, Lukey, how excited are you, mate?
Pretty excited. Good morning, mate. Yeah, it's been a ripper. Like whoever's going to get this call should be pumped. What a prize.
I cannot wait. I genuinely couldn't sleep last night for a period there because I was just like that excited. Like someone is going to get a Mazda BT-50. As always, guys, give Lukey a follow on Instagram. We've got some really, really good stuff planned. So make sure to follow LDC_01. Now it is time to finally draw the Mazda BT-50. Join the Bloke Club. We're doing prizes every single month, guys. This isn't going to be the last thing that we do. Prizes every single month, including discounts, all thanks to the Bloke Club. Alrighty. Now, what we're going to do is we have put everyone's name in the Bloke Club into a random name picker. Maddie is going to press the button that says to choose the random name picker. Then, when it comes up, we're going to announce the winner. We are then going to call the person on FaceTime, and hopefully they pick up. If they don't pick up, we'll give them a couple of hours. We'll try again. Unfortunately, Lukey won't be with us then if we do that because he's got actually work to do. But hopefully they pick up. We've told everyone we're drawing it today, so hopefully they'll pick up. Anyway, alrighty. Without further ado, let's draw the Mazda BT-50 winner. All thanks to Aspley Mazda and Luke Camilleri. Let's draw it. Alrighty, Maddie. 3, 2, 1. Is that the winner?
Yep.
Richard McFadden. How good? Let's give him a call. Richard, you have won a Mazda BT-50, mate. You have won a Mazda BT-50.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
Yes, seriously. You've absolutely won a Mazda BT-50, all thanks to Luke Camilleri.
Oh, man. Wow, that's crazy.
Mate,
Congratulations, mate.
congratulations. You can't hear at the moment, but Lukey's saying a massive congratulations.
Oh, cheers. Oh, wow, this blew my mind.
Mate, I'm stoked that you can win it. What are you driving at the moment? Is it an upgrade?
Ford Territory.
Ford Territory. Okay, Ford Territory. So trust me, once you go Mazda, mate, you'll love it. You'll love it.
Yeah, it's about 10 years old. I was thinking about buying a new car soon anyway, so.
Oh, no way. Well, mate.
That's awesome.
You won a Mazda BT-50. First, who's your team? Who's your league team? Panthers. Oh, my God. The winners keep winning. The rich get richer. What's going on here? That's a joke. Mate, congratulations. I'm so stoked that you won it, mate. Mazda BT-50. What we'll do is we'll get you in contact with Lukey and we'll sort it all out for you, but I'm so stoked for you, mate.
Oh, man, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Congratulations, bro.
All right, cheers, bro.
Speak to you soon.
Yep, no worries. Cheers, man.
Cheers, mate. There you have it. Richard McFadden. He's done it. He's come from the clouds. He's come from nowhere and he's done it. Oh, wow. Lukey, you there, mate?
How good's that?
Oh, yeah, it's awesome.
Happy man, I reckon.
He'd be a happy man. Thank you so much for that. As I said, we have huge plans with Lukey. Give him a follow, LDC_01. Obviously, we'll give Richard another call. We'll go through the whole process. We'll get him up there. We'll get him the Mazda BT-50, all that great stuff. But we got huge plans, myself and Lukey and Aspley Mazda as well. So make sure to stay tuned with Lukey because, as I said, it's just going to get bigger and better, guys. It's going to get bigger and better. Thanks, Lukey. We appreciate it so much, mate. Really, really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, brother. Wow, that was amazing. I can't believe what we just witnessed. Oh, my God. That, honestly, that brings me so much joy. It's all about giving. It's about giving. That's what makes you happy. And I'll tell you what about giving. This weekend, Kayo was giving one of the great fights all time in Fundora versus Zoo 2. One of the number one was an incredible fight where Timmy got all cut. Number two's happening this weekend, and I'm flying over to Vegas, all thanks to Kayo. I've got one mission. I just want to, first of all, Timmy to win. That's number one priority. Number two priority, if I can FaceTime Manny Pacquiao to my wife and her family, because they're Filipino, and my sons are Filipino. If they can just see Manny Pacquiao, I'm hoping that spirit jumps across to my sons. Hopefully. Anyway, that's the second priority. Root, how you going, brother?
I'm not great, mate.
I just had a pretty tough moment. Keanu Keeney, apparently not playing this year. Ruled out for the draft side. So.
You know what's crazy? I thought it was going to be New South Wales lost the unlosable series. I thought that was going to be what you got.
It's been a bad week. No one called me about a BT-50 either, which is a bit shit.
Timmy, how'd you go?
I'm good, mate. Also didn't win the car, but that's all right. And I'm just glad that we've basically put to bed this Kinney for the rest of the year stuff. Every week's going to Beers and Breakheads with Guru, and it's Kinney this, Kinney that. He's been hitting up the man himself, physio, checking for updates, and we finally got a bit of clarity on it from Desi Hasler, so Guru can shut up a bit.
You can shut up. Now, you also happy that New South Wales were put to bed by Dad?
Well, mate, the Raiders bagged another 2 points on the weekend, so that's what my focus is.
Yeah, care about your club team, not your states.
Club
Typical.
first.
Yeah, typical.
Yeah.
How you going, mate?
Yeah, good. Little weekend up in the Blue Mountains. Just trying to figure out where it all went wrong for the Blues.
Up in. Were you investigating? Because that's where they stay.
Looking for clues, couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
So
Did you find their ticker up there or that?
No, not a sign of any ticker. So.
Wow, I wonder where they left it.
Yeah.
Did you find our dynasty by any chance?
No sign of that either. So
Fuck.
yeah.
We'll keep an eye out.
Yeah.
It's coming. Oh, man, it feels good to be from Queensland. Okay, let's face a bit of music brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. Look, bit of a dry run, but I'm still swinging. I'm always swinging for the fences. If you want to follow me on the feed, you're not going to get boring stuff. You're going to get swinging for the fences every single week.
Geez, you got stiffed in the World Club Cup on your same game multi this morning, didn't you?
Massively. I was watching that like a hawk.
Both sides to score, no, tick. Over 2.5 goals, tick. But you had PSG head-to-head. Chelsea won 3-0. So, anyway, back to the drawing board.
Damn it.
Looking forward to some more global football, some round ball stuff.
Yeah, well, if you follow your feed, they call me Sizzler, all you can eat.
Get around him. All right, let's get into the results from this week. Round 19. Round 19. So we kicked off with the Sharkies versus the Fish. Sharks 24 defeat the Dolphins 12. Everyone pretty hot on the Dolphins except Timmy, who liked the Sharks minus 3.5. A rare early win for Timmy. Well done, mate.
That sucks. Bad way to start the week.
We move on to Saturday. Knights 14 defeated by Storm 32. Roo, Timmy and myself, we all thought the Knights would get within 11.5, which did not happen. Matty had the Storm minus 11.5. Denon had the Storm head-to-head for a whopping $1.25.
Yep, that's $1.25 more than you boys.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, mate.
This is just smart punting.
Dragons 24 defeated by Chooks 31. Timmy and Matty had the Chooks minus 5.5. Well done. Denon, you had the Chookies 1-12 for $2.80. Well played. That's more like $1.25.
It's too easy.
$2.80.
It's getting too easy.
Last game of Saturday, Cowboys 8 defeated by Dogs 12. A bit of love for the Cowboys from the panel, but nobody took them with the start. Timmy and Matty, you had the Dogs 1-12 for $2.85. So well played. Warriors
Robbed.
Might do well to get to 0 here.
Maybe. Watch this space. Warriors 34.
Oh, no.
Defeat the Tigers 14. Timmy the Dog had the Warriors 13 plus to 20. Denon took the Warriors head-to-head for a whopping $1.36. Well done, Denon.
Beautiful punning.
Yeah, beautiful. I don't know. Griffey.
Yeah, well, who's on top?
Yeah, fair point. Eels 10 defeated by Penrith 32. Sharp punting here for some very sharp minds. Matty had the Panthers minus 11.5. I had the Panthers 13 plus for $1.98. Get around me.
What a risk. Nothing.
No, I'm not going to stand for that.
No. What I'm saying is you risked a 13 plus for only $1.98. Not worth it.
And it paid off. So get around me.
Not worth it.
Titans 14 defeated by Broncos.
What did I have there with the Panthers? Just if I can recall correctly.
You had the Eels head to head.
Oh, well, okay.
Stupid. Titans 14 defeated by Broncos 26. Matty had the Broncos minus 11.5. Denon took the Broncos head to head for a shameful $1.29.
Oh, and I come out on top. We haven't even done Origin yet.
Yeah, all right, well, let's do Origin. Denon and myself took Queensland 1-12 for $3.90. None of us hit the frame with an anytime try score or a player of the match, but that brings us to the end of round 19. So, results for this round. Denon out in front, $10.60.
It's just honestly, it gets easier and easier as I get my eye in further and further. You like started the year, got into round 5 to 6, started throwing some big bets out there, threw you off the scent, then come back in conservative, and I'm just flying out in front now.
Yeah, you scraped home with a couple of anyway. Matty, $10.45, not a bad week for him as well. Timmy, $8.85, moving and shaking. Myself, $5.88, and ladies and gentlemen, with our first nudie run for 2025.
Yes.
Rudy run. Should I call it?
That is disgraceful.
Yes.
That is disgraceful punting. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's what you get for not having a team. That's what the footy gods give you. They say you should have some balls, have a team. It should be the Dragons. Terrible stuff.
Yeah, the bad week gets worse.
Yeah. Bad things coming through.
When it rains, it pours for the Roo.
Shit.
Terrible.
You're looking for a big bounce back next week then?
I'm looking for anything. Fucking anything.
Yeah.
Looking for a draft fullback too if anyone wants to help me out.
Oh, wow.
So the overall results, Denon, $164.10. Matty, $158.73. Roo, same as last week. Mate, Control C, Control V,
Makes sense.
120.37. Timmy, a little bit of moving this week, 116.16.
Look out.
And myself, 115.11.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go, eh?
But Roo, you're within striking distance now.
What's
so
Roo?
120.37.
So we're closing in.
Yeah, we're
Good.
closing the
I
gap.
like that.
You had an extra week. You'd want to be closing in. I'm playing a 26-week season over here.
Oh, through your own choice.
Terrible.
That is disgraceful stuff, seriously. But what isn't disgraceful is my punting. Unbelievable, just brave, bold stuff. Going against the grain, copping crap every single week, just flying out the front. That's what I
Yeah,
do.
I think we've got different definitions of against the grain. That's okay.
Oh, that's good stuff. Give us a follow on the feed. Give Hammy a follow on the feed.
Get her, Hammy.
Massive thank you as always to Sportsbet. We really do appreciate it. And it's Try July as well.
Oh, Try July's killing it.
Oh, my God.
We've just ticked over $215,000
What?
donated in the first 2 weeks.
That's sick.
Shout out to the Knights girls who
Oh.
we gave them a $10,000 donation versus
Oh,
a
really?
fine, just because it was brave.
Yeah, brave.
Because there's good news and there's bad news. The $10,000 donation, that's the good news. The bad news, they might inspire North Queensland to win the next 8 comps in a row. Because we saw what happened with the Brones all those years ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, we'll wait and see. But keep them coming. It's been great. And shout out to the RLPA as well for encouraging the players to get involved.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
awesome stuff. I will say, what about Reece Welsh doing the Blacklock?
Oh,
Geez,
yeah.
athletic as anything.
Outrageous.
Athletic as anything.
I didn't mind Victor Radley with the Happy Gilmore as well.
Yes,
Not
that's
bad.
great.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, risky. It's a $50,000 camera that he
Yeah, I
was
know.
wrangling.
Yeah.
Uncle Nick will take care of that.
Without a doubt.
You'd hope
Uncle
so.
Nick will
That's an
take
hour
care
and a
of that.
pokey at East Lakes.
Yeah.
You'd be chuffed if you were the marketing team for Happy Gilmore 2, coming straight to Netflix on July 25.
Hasn't made much of a splash from Happy Gilmore 2.
No, it's not out yet. July 25.
Oh, apologies.
Straight to Netflix
Yeah.
though, which is a bit of a red flag for me. But you'd be pretty stoked with the Victor Radley try celebration.
Oh, man. Can you capture lightning in a bottle twice? Can you do it?
Well, we'll find out on
If
July
anyone
25.
can, he can.
Yeah, look, he's had some stinkers. Adam Sandler. And I will say, I hope the humour isn't the same. Because humour is not the same as it was in, the early 2000s?
No, it's not. Simple at time.
Yeah, simple at time. Hope it's matured. Anyway, Denner's movie reviews will be later in the show. Guys, it's time for the code story of the week. Don't forget, discounted subscriptions, Bloke listeners, codesports.com.au/bloke. And you'll get a discount for the whole year, and that's most likely ending soon. Got a meeting with Code Sports. Want to go back from Vegas, so we'll be switching things up most likely then. But Fatima, how you going?
Good. How are you? Thank
Very,
you.
very good. Thank you. Now, you've got quite a few stories this week. What story do you want to kind of land this week that's really caught your eye?
Oh, well, I think Dylan Brown's going to be an interesting talking point, especially when the team list drops on Tuesday. The coaches who are sort of under, on the chopping block potentially, so to speak, is getting a bit interesting. Des Hasler has sort of refuted claims that he was saying he's ready to step away from coaching entirely, saying no, he wants to coach. Lachlan Galvin is going to be another interesting story. So, yeah, there's a bit happening.
Dylan Brown situation. I get where the Eels are coming from, and I actually really respect it from Riles. We speak about it all the time on this platform where it's like, listen, if the season's done, start building towards next year. However, what I did find surprising is when the game was on the line, he didn't get him immediately back out there. Like, I understand giving Joash Papali, a bit of time there, but at the same time, like, you still want to win matches. I was a little bit surprised at that. Now, he came back on at 13, I think, which is going to be a really interesting watch. Like, the commentators were super, oh, Dylan Brown's all the way on the outer, you may as well not even play, which I was quite surprised at that far. But is he on the outer, or is it just about next year?
I think the animated response to a lot of people to that move probably had some hangover from the Lachlan Galvin stuff, because it had shades of Lachlan Galvin, Marnie comes off for Galvin to come on. Brown is shifted for Talon De Silva and Josh Papali'i, but they're two different situations, right?
Yep.
Like the Bulldogs, they're building for right now, which is a premiership. Riles is building for a little bit later, which is back into the finals. So I don't think he's on the outer. Riles, after the game, did say, look, this is something we've spoken to Dylan about, and he's on board, praised his maturity. It's still a bit weird, right? Like you've got your running threat who's playing at dummy half. He's literally just feeding the ball. He didn't run from dummy half. It wasn't like he had this sort of, Harry Grant style game about him. Papali didn't run. Dean Hawkins didn't run. It really took away from their attack, which so I understand it in terms of long-term planning. And it's actually smart coaching by Riles, because Papali, even though he is a gun, he has all the qualities needed to be a playmaker. He's mostly played at fullback. At Canterbury, they were actually grooming him to be a dummy half. And as much as, people are talking about Galvin sort of getting a Bulldogs education in New South Wales Cup. But the thing is, the best education you get is playing NRL. And for Papali, he needs the reps, he needs the reps at NRL level. So I get it from that point of view. It's just going to be interesting to see where Brown fits into the equation, because Riley Smith, who's the other young hooker there, he's back from suspension this week. So if Riles is sort of committed to a future that's a two-hooker rotation with Papali at 6, then where do you fit Dylan Brown into that equation? So it's going to be interesting. So, but no, I don't think he's necessarily on the outer. I don't think, I mean, that. Having said that, when the Galvin situation was all unfolding and there was talks of, potential player swaps and movements and the rest of it, I think with Kai Peace-Paul, I think it was, there was some chat that if somehow all the pieces of the puzzle could fall in the right place, that Dylan Brown could potentially move early. But that never happened. And also, I mean, I know there's only, 7-8 rounds left to go, but you need depth. So
it'll also be interesting too, because Mitch Moses returns in 2 weeks, I believe. So is it worth keeping Dill Brown there? Realistically, you're a team that can't make finals. I kind of think they might leave Brown out. Like they've just re-signed Riley Smith. They've just signed Talon Silver on a 4-year deal. All these guys are going to be there into the future. I don't know if there's much point keeping Brown on the side. You've already ripped the Band-Aid off a little bit. I kind of think you might as well push through with it.
I don't mind him coming on at 13, especially, Hopgood's form this year just hasn't been great. Huge fan of Hopgood, but his form just hasn't been at the standard we know it is. And I think at 13, his running game and passing game will be phenomenal. He's quite a big body too, Dylan Brown.
I was going to say, he's actually a really good defender as well. That's probably because a lot of people talk about his running. They don't, sometimes they underestimate the fact that he can withstand a bit of defence his way. So, it's not a bad shout. But again, if he's not going to be there, he's just, a placeholder again at 13. So.
And then you're going to run with a bench of a hooker, Dill Walker and Dylan Brown.
I'd even consider starting him. That's how I feel like Hopgood's been
They're not going to keep Hopgood on the side, or?
Off the bench, potentially. Off the bench. I just think that, because you still get your reps in the key players. Hopgood, if he's coming off the bench, one player that gets moved off that bench, them missing 3 or 4 first grade games is not going to matter. That's not going to change anything. The main purpose that they have right now is trying to get Josh Papali'i as many matches as possible. I guess Talon De Silva to a degree as well. And so I still think they're a better side with Dylan Brown in it. And so that's where I go. If there is a forward on the bench that's fringe, playing okay or whatever, I still think you want to try to win as many games as possible and play as good footy as possible to help build as much confidence as possible in those players. I understand the idea that he's not going to be there, but at the same time, you don't want to lose every match to head out the season.
Yeah, you don't. But I mean, you have got a lot of young guys there you're trying to get reps into. He's already come out and said we are in a rebuild. I'd lean into it personally.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Yes, so I guess interesting watch. What about you, Tim? What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, look, I love the approach from the Eels and just backing Jason Riles in this rebuild since day dot, because Jason Riles is a new coach. If they don't back this from the word go, well, he makes decisions with short-term thinking, not long-term thinking. And we've spoken about that before, and how it can be really detrimental to a club and their future success. So I love the way they've gone about it and gone, you know what, Dill's not going to be here next season. Let's give Papali an opportunity in the halves and Talon De Silva a chance. All for it. I think what they got wrong is starting him at number 9 because, as you said, Kempy, you still want to be in games and winning games in the back end of the season, and fans deserve to be fighting in games. And I just felt like they were almost conceding the game by playing a bloke who's never played number 9, to my knowledge, in his career. And they said Talon De Silva's the future, along with sort of Riley Smith there. So I just think if they were going to make that move and have inexperienced halves in there, just play Dill Brown off the bench to start the game, start Talon De Silva. I thought it was weird playing at number 9 where he didn't look comfortable there, as you said, for Teamer. He didn't run the ball at all, and that's the part I think they got wrong. And moving forward, don't put him at number 9.
Put him at
play
13.
Riley or Talon. Just play him. I'd just play him off the bench, and he said bring him on as a middle forward in a similar sort of role to what Dylan Walker does.
Maybe it was, when I think about it, maybe having him at 9, because it is a bit of a weird move. It's just sort of easing Eels fans into the idea that he might not even be in the side this week, rather than just completely omitting him, going, okay, this is what we're doing, but we're doing this because we're planning to the future. And this is, it's one of those things, it was a surprise when news started filtering through about it on Sunday, but it's not like, Riles went to him in the sheds on Sunday an hour before kickoff and going, oh, mate, you're playing at dummy half. Like, this is something that everybody involved, has spoken about. So he knew what was happening. So it wasn't one of those weird things where he was trying to be ostracised or squeezed out or the rest of it. And
I think, like, on that point of easing the news to fans of their long-term 5'8" and, that he's on the outer, like, it's surprised that he moved to number 9 when that news came through, but at the same time, they've been in a rebuild they've been so transparent about it from round 1. So the fact that they did it, or if they moved him to the bench, I think people are going, okay, we're in a rebuild, we're looking towards next year in the future. They would have been okay with it. Like, if they hadn't been so clear that they were rebuilding and looking to the future, and then they moved Dylan Brown to 9, I'd be like, oh my God, what's going on? This is so left field. But I think fans understand where Parramatta are at this year.
I will just say, I like him at 13 more, because, like, at number 9, it's the first point of contact for every set, for every single set. And so it's the most, almost nearly the most important place you have an out-and-out 9 or that position in, to a degree. I know 7 is the most important, but, like, at number 9, they're the ones that provide service to the 7. If that service is bad, not to suggest his was bad, but it's obviously not going to be, top tier. And that's why I like him coming on in more of a Dylan Walker role in that 13, because you can he's not going to affect any kind of structures. He's not going to change any kind of timing. Whereas Talon De Silva, like, he's a number 9. He's going to be serving quite, like, as a standard of an NRL number 9. And so I reckon if they're going to use him, I reckon as a 13, potentially even starting Dylan Walker and having, then you could have Dylan Brown as that almost replacement for him. But what I will say, I want to commend the Eels for making this tough call. We talk about it all the time. Why waste NRL games when you can't make the 8? Just no point. And I'd love to get everyone's thoughts. Jimmy Graham, he did a report card for where each club was mid-year. I'd love to get your thoughts of where they're at, because I might have a bit of a different opinion, because I had a very different opinion to Jimmy Graham, and I love Jammer, but I personally, I know they got beaten quite dramatically, but after this, up until this point, I'd nearly give the Eels a B+/A-, genuinely. And the reason why I say that is not because of where they are on the table. A, with Mitchell Moses in the side, I believe they could make the top 8. But B, I always ask myself, what is a club setting out to do at the start of the year? How close are they getting to the best version of that? And I think we could all agree that the Eels' development of these young players has been phenomenal. Where do you land them?
Yeah, the grading system's very up in the air for me. Just depends how you want to look at it. I think you're looking at it at a very different spec of what James Graham is, but I tend to be happy with where they're at. They came out and said early, we are in a rebuild. They've got Katoga playing great football. They've got Iongi doing great things. So once Mitch Moses is back in that side next year, and this is also why I'm sort of like, geez, I'd rather them see just Joash play 5'8", give an opportunity just to build into next year. So I'm okay with where they're at. You look at the ladder, obviously, and it's easy to give them a D or whatever, but they're a rebuilding club who is built around a halfback who they don't have this year. So I'm okay with where they're at. Parramatta, they're always at 350. I always feel like they're a good sniff every weekend.
And they were in the game until the best player in the comp at Clubland came in and changed it. Timmy, thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I'd probably sit them at like a B-. I think, as you said, because they've been so open about the rebuild from the start of the season and the big decisions that Riles has made. And at the end of the day, I won't say sacrificed games, but he's given himself lesser opportunities to win maximum games this year because of that. And I love that long-term approach.
Yeah,
the big one there is obviously Isaiah Iongi at the back and how good he's been, and the fact that they've moved on veterans to the club that they thought, all right, maybe they could push us towards finals this year, but as we get into a premiership window, hopefully in 2 to 3 years' time, the likes of, Clint Gutherson and the elder players in the side, they might be past it. So, they've copped losses this year off the back of it, and they've blooded a lot of players. Like Riley Smith's been fantastic this year, along with a number of others. So, the Zach Lomax recruitment, that's been fantastic for them. So, yeah, I'd have them probably be at a B-, and they're building well towards next year.
And on that note, like they signed Lomax, Josh Adokar, Jack Williams, Talon De Silva, Dylan
All on
Walker.
unders.
I'd say all these guys are unders, and they've been really good signings.
Yeah.
Dylan Walker's been phenomenal. And to coach, most likely the rookie of the year, that means something. This guy was in reserve grade before Hammy, and then I get to you, Fatima.
Report card wise?
Report card wise.
Yeah, I'd give them a C, C+. Like, they've obviously made a bit of a call now. With Dill Brown obviously leaving next year, they're giving some guys some time in the hot seat, building towards next year. And I feel like they've improved under Riles as well. You can kind of see where they're going, and they've got some good players in too. I think the Fox has been a underrated signing. Obviously Lomax has come as well. Yongi's been a really good find at the back. So there's enough kind of ingredients there where you can see once they get Moses back in there that they're going to be tracking well. But I would probably not as hot on them as you might have been, but I think they're tracking nicely.
I always compare it to what the expectation was for this year, and this side with Mitch Moses back in it could potentially be fighting for the 8. So let's say they have this massive rebuild and they're in the 8. Like for me, probably B+. I'd be about B+, but maybe I'm too high on them. Fatima, whereabouts would you have them?
I probably would Timmy B-, maybe a C+. It's hard to say a team has maybe overachieved when, they're towards the bottom end of the ladder, but they haven't had Mitch Moses. I think what's gone under the radar, where Riles hasn't necessarily got a lot of plaudits for, is the recruitment and retention, because they have recruited really well. Josh Adokar's playing well. And in terms of the retention side of things, like coaches have to make hard decisions. When Ivan first went back to Penrith, like he tapped guys like Wonga Blake, like Regan Campbell-Gillard, eventually James Maloney. Like you have to make the tough decisions if you've got a vision for the club, and I reckon Riles does, which is one of the reasons why guys like Gutho, Regan Campbell-Gillard, and the rest of it were sort of let go at the club. So I think he's actually doing a really good job. Like I look at their roster, they've got Strike in the outside backs. They're going to have a pretty decent spine. Ayongi's killing it. Talon De Silva's a star of the future. Junior Paulo has, I reckon he's probably having one of his better seasons in a long time, and I think that has a lot to do with Riles' influence on him. They're probably missing a middle. I reckon that's the key in really elevating them. They do have a young kid called Sam Tuavadi who's coming through, and he looks like he might, if he can sort of find some consistency in his game, he's one for the future. But I think I expected them to be where they are, especially the fact that they've had to play so much without Mitch Moses this year.
So shout out to Big Jammer. Really, really interesting watch. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So shout out to the big fella. Now, other stories that you've got at the moment. Blaze Talangi. Really interesting discussion around him and dealing with, I guess, a lot of hype, going to the best team in the comp, one of the best young talents in the comp. Super brave yesterday. Probably didn't have his best game yesterday, but he was super brave. I really loved how good he was, how he kept turning up in defence when Lomax kept targeting.
Yeah, I mean, that's there was, might have been actually on Lomax where he tried to save a tackle there, just like zero self-preservation, just put his whole body into it. Another interesting one, it's a massive deal when you're going to the club that's just played 5 grand finals, won 4 premierships, and you have to replace the guy who's won 4 premierships in the number 6 jumper.
And the heartbeat of the side too, Jerome. Yeah,
absolutely. So there was a bit of fanfare about it and a lot of head scratching. Where is he? Why isn't he in the NRL team? What's going on? Is he off at the club? But, he just needed time.
Yeah.
And you look at sort of, if it sort of mirrors the Galvin situation a little bit, probably just needs a bit of time. But, his ceiling is so high. There are so many good young halves at the moment. It's funny because we talk about this like halves drought and the rest of it. If you actually look across the comp, there are actually some really, really, really good young halves with massive ceilings, and I think, Blaze Talangi is one of them.
Yep, so make sure to check that out on codesports.com.au. Use /bloke, use code bloke for your discount, guys, and a massive thank you to Fatima for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Alrighty, that is Code Sports story of the week. And also, guys, I'm a little bit offended because you clearly aren't men of culture. I wore this shirt today, and it's one of the all-time shirts, and you haven't said fucking anything about it.
What is it?
It's Warcraft 3, man.
Wow.
It's Warcraft 3.
Wow.
I don't know how I missed it.
Unbelievable stuff. Really, really rude,
Warcraft 3?
Yeah, Warcraft 3.
All right, talk me through it, as though I know nothing about it. What?
No, we'll be here for too long, man. We'll be too long, but it's a strategy game.
Is that the thing where you like paint the little people, Warcraft?
No, that's Warhammer.
Warhammer.
Yeah. So clearly you're not men of culture.
Warcraft 3.
No. World of Warcraft is after Warcraft 3. Warcraft 3 is the real-time strategy game.
Yeah.
And you have these heroes, plus men as well, that would fight each other, build up armies, fight each other.
Nothing
but then
new.
World of Warcraft was made, and you're in that world where the lore is created and as
Is
an
there
individual
witchcraft?
person. There's a bit of, there's wizardry and witchcraft. Yeah, you could say that. But anyway, it's just rude.
Where do you play this? What's it on?
It's on PC. Look, it's just disappointing, to be honest. I thought you were men of culture, but you're clearly not. Really fucking disappointing. I've worn a hot outfit for you guys today, and you haven't fucking noticed it. And this is why our marriage is struggling, is because you don't ever notice when I try to dress up nice for you. That's why I cheated on you. Okay. Okay, time for Menulog's Hungriest player. Oh, he's a man I'd cheat for, that's for sure. It is Nico Hines, that's right. The hot boy Hines, he is our hungriest player. Hair wetter than the ocean. Absolutely outstanding game. What I loved about this game for Hines, and we'll get deeper into it in the thing, I saw some mongrel in him. I saw some bravado, some basically saying like, I'm the man. I'm going to take this team to a win. I got a bunch of try assists, some tries, all that good stuff. That's what I want to see from Hines, because this is a problem for Hines that he's always going to face. It doesn't matter whether he plays terribly or he's the best player in the comp, people are going to hate on him. So he may as well just go, you know what? I am a bloody good footy player. Yeah, I am on $1 million a year. And just lean into that confidence. Now, I know some people's personalities just doesn't suit that way, but he's going to get haters no matter what. And look, I'm not saying people that critique him are haters. That's not. There's nothing wrong with that. But there are people that no matter what he does, it's hate. That is always going to exist. He's a good-looking bloke, earn a lot of coin playing rugby league. That's the way the world is. So I love the fact that we saw a bit of just bravado, a bit of mongrel about him, layering up. I liked it, and I felt like you could actually see that in the way he played.
Yeah, I agree. I love that he just ran the ball early. He set himself up in that game for the back end. Some of the passes he threw, in the second half were sensational. But I just love Nico when he runs, and I think that goes back to what he was, originally a fullback. But a really good.
He's
running
deceptively strong too.
Yeah.
And also he doesn't look that fast, but he always seems to kind of beat that first defender or brush off the tackle. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, deceptively strong, but deceptively quick. He moves so quick those first 3-4 steps, and just such a timely reminder, I think, to himself of how dominant his running game can be. In this game, he single-handedly pretty well won them the game and dismantled the Dolphins, who had been in some terrific form. And they scored 4 tries. He scored 2 of them off his own back with his running game. He threw the ball to Nicola to pop it then to Ramian, and he isolated Sean O'Sullivan with that ball as well. And then he had that peach of ball to Katoa. So, he was responsible for all 4 of the tries that the Sharkies scored. And you talk about haters wanting it, going against Nico Hines and finding it hard to end his success. You saw comments on social media and people just straight away jumped on, oh yeah, but the Dolphins were injury plagued. It's they've been injury plagued all season and they've been putting up some brilliant performances. And this game for the Sharks was near enough a must-win in my eyes. The Dolphins
absolutely.
had rested Hammer. They were back home. They were going through a lean spell. Nico took him, put him on his back, and got him across the line.
Yep. And what I love about all of it, 26 tackles, 0 misses as well on top of all of it. That's one area where I feel like any half has lapses every now and then, but I feel like his defence from a few years ago is improved dramatically. And also, you've got to remember, granted, I get it, Katoa is 21. You couldn't find bigger fans of Katoa, but he was going up against the Form 7 in the comp, the Form 7 of the comp, and he got the job done.
Yeah, he did. He looked great. One of his better games in a while. Do you still think, though, that he's got number 7 on his back? That felt like a bit of a number 6 game. Obviously, ran the footy a lot more. Trindle, they split the kicking pretty well, but Trindle probably did a little bit more of it. Is he playing like a number 6? And is it what's the point?
Funnily enough, basically 10 kicks to Trindle, 9 kicks to Hines. Look, I agree with you. He is playing a bit like a 6.
Yeah.
And not always, sorry, opposite. I actually am to the point where I would just put the 6 back on his jersey. because it gives him less pressure. However, if he keeps playing like this,
doesn't matter what number he's got on. Yeah. No, very impressive. He was back at his best this weekend.
So use code Hines for $7 off pizza. And speaking of hungry, shout out to Arthur's Pizza, an institution serving its renowned pizza for over 30 years. We actually get Arthur's Pizza every Origin night. And I'll tell you what, the cheese pizza or a margarita, it is phenomenal. It is so, so good. Every single Origin that we've watched here, we've gotten Arthur's Pizza. So make sure to get Arthur's Pizza. $7 off your favourite local pizza. Legend on Menulog with code Hines. Massive congratulations to Hines winning Menulog's Hungriest Player. Okay, it's time now for the Grumpy Team of the Week. It is Teddy at fullback, Tupou and Young on the wings, Stags and Tungor at centres, with a Herbie Farmworth very close to getting selected. Unbelievable. Harris Tavita and Hines at 7. Smith at 8, Lindsay Smith, and 4, Jackson Ford at 10. Brayley at 9. I mean, how good has this guy been? We'll get into the review. Brayley at 9. 11, Katoa. 12, Sua. 13, Leoro. I mean, talk about confidence from Origin. My God. 14, Hughes. 15, Tuapiki. 16, Halasima. And 17, Preston. That is the Grumpy Coffee Team of the Week. Get your Grumpy Coffee at grumpycoffee.com.au. Okay, it's time now for the Kayo Can't Miss moment. And for me, I mean, look, still rough around the edges, but the exciting thing for the Bulldogs is we've seen how far they've come as a club over the last couple of years. But now seeing the first of this next batch, this next generation coming through, it is super exciting. The Kayo Can't Miss moment was the entire game. It was Jethro Rinakama. What an outstanding game for a winger. Now, sometimes a winger can come in on debut, scores a couple of tries, and we all sit here, we praise it. What I love the most about Jethro's performance was the fact that some of his defensive hits, especially one of them, was massive. Not only was it an incredible read, it was a huge hit. Not only that, he had 24 runs, 180 metres, really, really good debut. And I think it's that first taste of the next generation Gus Gould has kind of been alluding to, and Serrado has been alluding to for quite a while. An outstanding debut and very exciting times for a very exciting time for the Bulldogs, because that game, they actually didn't play that well. So if their debutant winger didn't make the right calls in defence, it's game over. It's game over, especially when the game was on line with the big hit. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, he was great. He played in the under-19s a few weeks ago, and obviously I was up there. I was on his sideline at one point, a few metres away, and he didn't really get any opportunities in that game.
Yeah,
but
it's tough in those rep games sometimes.
I remember when I watched Nwanga Tuase play New South Wales Cup last year when he first came back, and just the way that he moved and his balance and everything, got a similar vibe with this guy. The way that he moves, and it's funny, being in that New South Wales 19s, when he's going up against other guys that are, that age, he just looked enormous.
Yeah.
Like, he looked like Jamal Idris out there in that game on the sideline. Then when he gets into first grade, obviously everyone's a little bit bigger and whatnot. But yeah, he didn't get any opportunities that night, but just the few touches he had, you could just tell he can move, and there's something there.
Yeah.
So, doggies, like even guys like Cade Dykes are reportedly going to join there, and Mitch Wood's coming through, Conti, like the list goes on and on.
Leo Thompson arrives next year.
They're building something proper over there.
When it all clicks into gear.
Like, jump on their back now about this season, and they made the wrong call. But I think Chama said it the other day that they're building for a dynasty, not a 2025 premiership. And that squad they're putting together is pretty damn impressive.
For sure. And also, if you're being fair, Dinkum, I think a lot of the worry we had this year is for sure, they're going to be in finals footy. They're going to be a tough side to beat. But do they have that extra little bit of stardom to actually win a grand final? I think most of us would say, maybe not. Let's see how the year goes. Timmy, thoughts on this young talent?
Yeah, the way they're building, they could potentially start as favourites in 2026, the way things are going. But I had on the SC Playbook podcast last week, Adam DeRusi, the chairman of the Bulldogs, and sort of chatting to him off air, and he spoke about Rinakama and about how big the raps within the club were of him. And he sort of said that he did the whole preseason in Jersey Flegg and wasn't in plans at all. And then he would just impress so much, and spent time under Josh Jackson in sort of the lower grades and that, and they just had to elevate him. And he said he won't be far off. As it ended up being, it was about 3 days later that he made his debut, and he just looked so comfortable, didn't he? Not overwhelmed by the occasion, travelling up to Townsville, a tough game, first game in the NRL, and he looked fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that is incredible. So he was with Jersey Flegg. He wasn't even in the... So what happens for people listening, you've got your top 30 or whatever, then you've got development usually. Then on top of that, in a preseason, there's sometimes up to 50 people in a squad.
Quite often is sort of a minimum nowadays.
Yeah. So and it's people literally they'll call people without contracts and go, okay, we've seen this about 5-6 guys in Queensland Cup and New South Wales Cup they've got a bit of talent, come down and train for the first few weeks, and that makes or breaks you. If you show that you're a bit, sulky or you can't handle the fitness or whatever, they'll just brush you. So for him to not be a part of that that first grade squad, to come all the way from Jersey Flegg, I can't stress to you enough how much he must have impressed. You've got to remember too, we're talking about the Bulldogs, a club with one of the highest standards. Like, the only thing that helped them win that game on the weekend was standards. That was it. It wasn't form. Their form was pretty poor. It was just standards. Hammy, what do you think of the Wingers debutant?
Yeah, very strong debut. All the stats very, really well. Obviously had the try as well. And, also leapfrog Blake Wilson, really, who has played on the wing a couple of times for them this year as well. So they must have, some pretty good raps on him, because I thought, Wilson was going pretty good before he missed out as well. So, yeah, very strong start in a tight game as well. Future's bright up there for the Dogs.
I'll tell you who's not having a strong start. Australia right now, 5 for 69.
Jeez.
5 for 69. There you go.
Isn't it amazing how quickly these guys move through grades now? Like I just saw on your screen. I hope I'm not stealing it from you. Like, he was in the Harold Matts team in 2023.
What?
I just love...
That's crazy.
We were talking about the cricket for a fair while, before the show today in the green room, and Guru's ability to move a conversation back to footy that quickly is quite startling.
You know what? He's speaking for the people.
I can't see the screen, so I can't enjoy it.
He's speaking with the people, though, because the people are like, we don't want to talk about cricket. But little do you know, this is a cricket podcast. This is actually our off-season right now. We're in off-season. Yeah. Okay, so that is our Kayo Can't Miss moment, guys. A massive congratulations to Jethro Rinakama. Obviously, he's not the perfect winger just yet. Give him time, because there is talent there. Wow, exciting times. Okay, Fox League exclusive games this round are Sharks v Roosters, Raiders v Eels, Bulldogs v Dragons, Storms v Seagulls, West Tigers v Titans. NRLW season has kicked off. It's been a great opening 2 rounds. Kayo will be showing every game live and ad break free during play. And the final golf major of the year is here. The Open Championship returns to the Royal Portrush from July 17th. Watch top Aussie Cameron Smith of the golfer fame, Adam Scott, Minwoo Lee, and Jason Day as they take on the world's best at one of the golf's toughest courses. Man, it always kills me when I watch that course. It's a tough one. Catch it live and exclusive on Fox Sports, available on Kayo. And the boxing event of the year is coming to main event. I don't even need to tell you. It's Zoo vs. Fundora 2. It's this Sunday. It's the biggest fight all year long. It's the fight it's like fighting for belts, actual belts. You don't want to miss it. It's this Sunday. The first fight was one of the greatest fights I've ever witnessed. This fight's going to be absolutely all time. It's this Sunday. Do not miss it. You don't even need a subscription to Kayo to actually watch it. So go to Kayo this Sunday. Make sure you're watching Timmy's Ear. And when I talk about stacked cards, it is stacked. Like, every single fight could headline its own card. Manny Pacquiao versus Barrios at the top. Timmy Zoo, Pitbull's there. It's stacked. It's absolutely stacked. You don't want to miss it. Okay, it's time now for the grumpy defence play of the week. Now, I'll just get through this quickly. Toby Rudolph, season essentially on the line. He somehow, someway starts on the right side at marker, if I recall correctly. Yep. Somehow gets across to the other side, trails, and it looks a try for all money. I think it's Jeremy Marshall-King. Pretty much a try for all money. Most players would have started jogging. Toby Rudolph, with his club's season on the line, and I believe it was their season on the line in this game. They lose this game, I think they're done. And he somehow manages to get his fingers to the ball and make Jeremy Marshall-King knock it on. That is the grumpy defence play of the week, guys, and it was absolutely phenomenal from Toby Rudolph.
Yeah, it was a huge play, and, I said it a few weeks ago and sort of said, just when Toby Rudolph is available again, I don't know if he'd be in my side. I was sort of looking for a bit more punch off the bench. But, mate, since his return from injury, he's been really good.
Yeah.
I think it's been probably his best 4 or 5 week stretch he's had in quite some time. And that play, I think people have, without, unless you're a nerd like me and you look at the ladder and how it would have affected it. Like, if the Dolphins score that, I think they take the lead. And then I think Isaiah Cartoa just dictate terms for the back end of the game. The Sharkies are back behind. They're under pressure. And, now the Sharks are 2 points ahead of the Dolphins. Like, had they not won that game, the Dolphins would be up there. The Sharks play the Roosters this week. Like, if they were to lose that, the Sharks could have quite easily found themselves 11th or 12th.
Yeah.
They come out of Origin. They got no Origin players, no concerns during that period. They haven't handled it well in any way, shape or form. Had that moment gone against them, I think it's kind of season over for the Sharks. I think it would have been tough to come back from.
I'm with you. And another defence play of the week, guys, was, did you guys see Dearden's shot on kick out? Is he serious? It was a one-on-one tackle, and he literally won the contact against Kickow, who was running a line against him. And it wasn't even he didn't even chop him underneath and like pick him up and drag him back. He literally hit the ball and stuck and drove him back. Like, Dearden, pound for pound, might be one of the strongest players in the competition. Like, genuinely, actually, fun enough, I heard a great story. So I think it was Cooper Johns was saying, I think Trent Leoro, speaking of Trent Leoro, this is a bit of a tangent, but he was speaking to Trent Leoro, and he said Kurt Capewell's the strongest bloke he's ever wrestled.
Wow.
He said he was just so strong in contact, and then you go and watch the game, and he was the only one that could actually hit Liam Martin. Anyway, sorry, little of a side. Dearden shot on kick out. Yeah. I just thought that was good information.
Yeah,
good information. Where else could I brought it up? Where else? Yeah, it's good chat. Good chat. But yeah, Dearden shot on kick out. You know, we obviously go back to his shot on Brian To'o. Multiple big plays, obviously in Origin. Goes back to Clubland, can't get it done. That's also a defensive play. And on top of that, this one swept under the radar, but it was Marnie's shot on Griffin Neame. Towards the end of the game, he gets under the ball and just chops him. Perfect technique. Marnie was so good for the Doggies. So they're the grumpy defense plays of the week, guys. And so, yeah, make sure to grab your grumpy coffee. Okay.
Shout out to Toby Rudolph, one of the great characters of the game. And he was quoted on Triple M after saying, I walked into the cafe this morning, 2 people said good game, and that's never happened in my entire career.
Oh, that's good stuff. Hopefully there's some grumpy coffee at that cafe, I'm just saying. Not that we sell to cafes yet, but anyway, it is what it is. Look, Sharks v Dolphins. Let's get into it, shall we? Sharks v Dolphins. As we were just discussing, guys, this was, in my opinion, a season on the line game, and it was the Hines show. It was the Hines show, and I'm so happy. As I said, like, I've seen Hines play well before, so that's not really a surprise to me that he can play some good footy. Even this year, yes, there have been games where you've needed him to step up. We've been critical of him. We've talked about it. You guys know that listen to this podcast. But even with all of that being said, all the pressure, when you go and actually look at his stats, the only person with more line engagements and more try assists, the only 7 with more try assists and line engagements than him is Katoa. And Katoa leads line engagements by like literally 80, which again shows you just how good he's going. But try assists, Hines is second for 7s in the competition. But what I liked the most about this performance, it was the yelling, the what did we speak about a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago? Timmy, you brought up, I just want to see a bit more mongrel. And I like the fact that Hines was yelling and ranting and all that kind of stuff. I feel like they've got all the talent in the world. They got the systems. They got the ticker. It's just that extra bit of mongrel. And then they added Brayley's running game onto it. I thought it was a really strong win from the Sharkies.
When he scored that second try and essentially sealed the match, and you're right, Kempin, he got up and there was just steel in his eyes, like, screw you all. Yep. I can do this. I can be the man. I was like, all right, Nico, here we go. Like, there's that passion. There's this will to win that we've been looking for. And it was like, there was malice in it. And I loved it.
I loved it. And the thing, as I said earlier, the thing is with Hines, it doesn't matter how good or bad he goes, he will have haters. And I'm not talking about people that critique him. That's not hating. Critiquing a professional rugby league player is not hating. I'm talking about the people that, like, Hines has a really good game, they lose, and they just go, oh, Hines is shit, it was all on Hines, it was his fault. Or they have a really good game, Hines plays well, and they go, oh, yeah, but where was that all last week? It's like, okay, you can't win. And so that's always going to happen. And so he needs to just create a mentality of, obviously appreciate the fans that love him, for sure. Appreciate all fans. They pay their money. But at the same time, I think that the Sharkies need to almost go a bit of a me against the world kind of attitude, because it seemed to have worked for Hines on the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just so good to see him have a response like that. He's just been copping it left, right and centre. And, at times I think it's been valid throughout the year, but other times I think it's just been so far off the mark. Like we've spoken about a lot, the calls for him to move positions and all this sort of crap. I do think probably the one concern I have with the Sharkies boys is that they can't, two halves, like it's either always one's good and one's not, which has its pros and cons. Like if one's got the hot hand, you let them go. But sometimes I sort of feel like with them it's just whichever one turns up that day. The other one sort of struggles to find their way next to them. Where do you guys sort of sit on that?
Well, that's where I feel like they should just say to Trindle, you're the 7. Your job is getting us around the park. Like, all that extra stuff in attack. Yeah, if you get the hot hand, great. But I feel like even subconsciously their roles are a bit like they don't even know at times.
I agree. Yeah.
Because Hines is the man, but you've got essentially them kicking the same. And I know people with the argument against that would be like, well, we always talk about kick pressure. When you've got both players kicking, it makes it, more options. But I reckon subconsciously they're both kind of like, are you the conservative 7 that gets us around the park, or are you the big dog that gets, it's a bit mixed. I think that it's good in theory, like this idea of like having both that can attack and both that can also get you around the park. But I think in the big moments, you need to make sure someone knows who the big dog is in that moment.
It feels like they show up each week and they work it out in the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, almost. Yep, absolutely. On the fly kind of thing.
And I almost think, watching the last few weeks, maybe this is over the top, but I almost think like the main guy at the moment is Blake Brayley.
Mate, he's
He's
so good.
just controlling the middle. He's deciding where they're going. Like, I feel like he's one of the bigger decision makers in this side at the moment. I just feel like he's pulling the right rein every single time. He's not the best hooker in rugby league, but he's the most in-form hooker for me.
Mate, he's one of the most consistent, that's for sure. 120 games on the trot. Unbelievable stuff. I don't mind that shout, because I'll never forget when they went down to Melbourne, they had both halves missing.
Yeah.
And Brayley just said, we're just going to play around the ruck up flat. I don't mind that, because then if you, it's almost like Hodgson at Raiders for that period where he kind of controlled a lot of the ruck and where they were getting. Maybe you take it off Trindle and you take it off Hines and you go, Brayley, you're the man. And Hines and Trindle, just get on the back of the quick play of the balls and play front foot footy, which they're really good at. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, look, I don't read into as much as you boys who wears the 6 and who wears the 7. I don't really care, and I don't think the club cares either. But like the way I see it, and the best foot forward for these two and their combination is they both dominate in different ways. It is Trindle in and around the ruck and getting the team to a field position and, worrying about getting around the park. But when they're attacking and they're set plays and they're sweeping movements, that's when Nico's the man. He's the best attacker out of these two.
Definitely.
He can control and get him around if he needs to, but when it's putting points on the board and the polish, throwing that last pass, the strong running game, it's Nico Hines. So I'm happy for Trindle, traditionally to be playing that 7 role of getting him around the park. And then when you get to the opposition 20 or 30, or when you're using it out of your own end, it's Nico Hines is the man.
Yeah. I think that's their best setup. And that's why I know you don't care whether it's 7 or 6, and I understand what you're saying. Like, does it really change things? I just think it helps everyone extremely clear who the traditional 7 is, and also I just think it takes pressure off Hines' end.
And I think it matters more for this team than most other sides, because they get to big stages, and this is where it gets a little bit wishy-washy. I would want it to be just very clear whose role it is, because as I said, I feel like they get to games and they sort of decide midway through. You do that to finals where it's 3 weeks against the best teams in the comp. I think they'll be on a hiding to what they've got the last few years.
I also think, like, if you just freed Nico's mind up to be that weapon in attack,
running,
he would just go to a whole nother level again.
Like, he came onto the scene as essentially a utility at the Storm, but as a fullback with his outstanding running game. And even his best work, probably when he won the Dalian medal as a halfback, it's his running game. Lean into that, and I'm with you, mate. Like, don't make like Nico Hines have to worry about the next play and get him to point A, B, or C. Let him run the ball, and he's got an outstanding passing game as well. Let him focus on the best aspects of his game, and let Trindle get him around the park.
Yeah. Let's talk about Brayley, though. So there's a period here when the game was on the line. Brayley had a run, got a quick play the ball, then Hines sets up the Ramian try. Then Brayley, with 16 to go, chops one of the Dolphins down. They knock it on. And then Brayley gets a repeat set after that. And essentially, at that point is where, the Sharkies kind of closed the game off. Like, that was just towards the end of the game, so it's not even at the start of the game. Brayley, for me, has been arguably one of the players of the last month. Regardless of position, I think he has been so good this last month of rugby league. And I just think that what's added to his game is his running game. He's been running more.
It's probably a bit of a hot take. I reckon he'll go dangerously close to like a spot in that Ashes squad at the end of the year. I think the Sharkies can do well come finals time and just be around there. I reckon he'll get very close because I don't see that team picking 2 hookers. I think they'll either run with a starting, like Harry Grant will be the 9. I reckon Blake Brayley would be a really good fit. The way that
you don't think they'll pick 2 hookers, or they will pick 2 hookers?
I think that when you're picking the 17 week to week, I don't think they'll pick 2 hookers.
Oh, so he'll be out of the squad, you mean?
I reckon,
and so you've got him there just in case.
Like the only one that I could see them picking is like Ben Hunt, but we think his rep career's
I think it's
over.
Think so, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think they'll pick Harry Grant at 9. Obviously, he's the best hooker in rugby league.
Well, it really is between him and Reece Robson, really.
Who else is? Yeah, and I personally don't think Reece Robson will play finals footy, so he'll be out of the frame for 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay.
I think Brayley will get a little bit closer.
Because when you said that, I just thought Reece Robson immediately, because I thought he was really good in the Origin series, but
and he was. Yeah,
interesting, because they probably won't play finals footy, or they're done pretty much. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, great point.
It's a great point.
I'm not sure. Like, I think it'd probably come down. No, I think it'll be Robson and Grant. Like, and I actually thought, we lost the series, but I thought Reece Robson was really good for us and one of the more shining lights.
But do you think, like, if they go deep in the finals and Brayley's one of their best players,
yeah,
I would go Robson, but...
I just think if they wanted to pick Robson as a 14, and they may or they may not, but I think you can play Robson through the middle as a 13, whereas Blake Brayley is an out-and-out number 9, so it just gives another option there. But look, they might... We've seen in the past as well with the Australian squad, playing like Harry Grant and having like a Ruben Cotter there, whether or not he's in the 17, I'm not sure, but him slot in and play about 15 minutes at number 9 as well. We've seen that used. So I don't know which way they'll go, but I do think that Reece Robson will be ahead of Blake Brayley.
I reckon that we're going to get to that Kangaroos side. Are they going to leave Nath Cleary out of the team?
Dearden will probably be 14, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to pick one hooker on the bench, and I reckon Blake Brayley can beat him out towards the back end of the season.
Okay. Interesting. What I will say, I think Robson, but I don't think it's as far off as some people.
I don't think it's as far as what people assume.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, to be honest, like, you could almost... I know, Cleary is the best 7 in the competition at Clubland, but Dearden has been so good in big games. Like, there might be a bit of pressure on that 7 jersey. And then
there should be pressure on that jersey.
Then you don't know, like, you're probably not going to pick Cleary as a 14, potentially. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, sorry, Sharkies fans, getting a bit sidetracked.
Bottom point, I think Blake Brayley's having a cracking season. I think he's being underappreciated massively.
Yep.
When the Sharks are going good, he's going good. And I think that the range that he can play with is a bit bigger than what Reece Robson's is at the moment.
His first 6 games of the season, he didn't run for over 31 metres. Ran for 64 in round 7, then he ran for 10 metres in round 8. In the last 4 weeks, he's run for over 100 metres twice.
And you know what the point of difference there is? Conversation with Beak.
Changed it all.
He was on the captain's run. And I asked him, why do you run more, mate? I didn't say it like that. I just said, anyway.
He took it on board.
Just saying, look, it might be a coincidence.
Are you saying that you saved the Sharks season and got Blake Brayley picked for the Kangaroos?
Look, I'm not saying it. You put that out there. You can agree with it or disagree with it. But that's a great... So 100 metres twice. That's super interesting.
111, and like comfortably 111 on the weekend, round 19, and then round 15 against the Dragons, 122.
Wow.
Is he Dally M9 of the year, or... Harry Grant's been good. I don't think he's set the world alight this year.
He's been injured a little bit as well.
At the moment,
Yeah, you know what?
It's up for grabs, but...
So I think there'll be a lot of momentum heading. I think he'll get Dally M Hooker of the Year if the Sharkies are playing finals and the Cowboys aren't.
Unless Harry Grant just goes boom for these last 6-7 rounds.
Which he quite possibly could,
Yeah. That's fair. It's a fair shout. What do you reckon about the Sharkies, mate?
Yeah, I mean, that was a good win by them on the weekend. I completely agree with your points about Brayley. I think he's had a really good solid season, but they came back well off the bye. Like, leading into the bye, they looked a little bit, busted, and they probably hadn't played that well since they beat the Storm in Cronulla a while ago. But, yeah, they just looked really composed on the weekend, and I think... definitely one of Nico's best games in a while. It's interesting, the point around the jerseys. Like, I suppose if they're playing well and they're humming like they did on the weekend, it doesn't really matter for Hines and Trindle. But I do think they're better off. To Rue's point around the clarity, they look a little bit disorganised, and it's got away from them a few times against good teams this year, like the Storm, who beat them last time they played. Like, I feel like it is. Even though Nico had a great game on the weekend, I'd probably make that change and just make it nice and crystal clear.
Yep.
Yeah. Definitely, he just played like a 6.
Yeah, I'm 100%.
I'll tell you, the other one's having a really good month for the Sharkies, who no one talks about him, no one really notices him. He's just getting better every week. Off the bench, that Jesse Colquhoun.
Yeah.
He's starting to turn into a good little footballer.
I'll tell you what, I'll be honest. When I first saw him, I was like, fringe first grader.
I was a bit iffy as well.
But he's definitely building nicely into a good footy player. I'm with you, mate. Shout out to Cam McInnes. Apparently he was bloody on a hospital bed. He couldn't barely move his neck with a big Susan Boyle on the neck, apparently. And he had to get it drained twice, I think. No, he had to get it drained, came out to play, and then went back to get it drained again.
Do you know what he said after the game? Pretty much said, AFB, I think AFB had his grandfather's funeral on Friday.
Actually, did see this.
Nicola had a child, so he sort of went, if those boys are here, why aren't I?
Yeah. Well, because you could nearly die from infection.
You died, so you were nearly burnt bread. That's probably why.
That's probably why. But respect.
But showed up and 34 tackles, none missed. So there you go.
Far out. So good, so tough. I thought Kennedy had a really good game at the back there. I thought he got through a bunch of work. The tough thing for Kennedy is that he's been good this year, but he's been great even sometimes. But has he been like lights out, win a premiership in this spine kind of great? And he hasn't been re-signed yet for next year, I'm pretty sure. It's for next year, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. What do you think they do there? It's a tough call. It's a super tough call. Now, reports are they don't have much money in the cap. If they're going to lose Dykes, it seems like there's, an inkling of what direction they're going to have. They got Bison, I think. Is it Bison?
Yeah. Bison, yeah.
And Bison, Street Fighter. Yeah. Thoughts?
I love Will Kennedy. I just don't know if he's got the upside to win a comp with him at fullback. You have a look through the history of the game and fullbacks that have won comps. With all due respect to Will Kennedy, I think if he was to win a comp, not he'd be the worst fullback, but he'd probably be the lowest ceiling fullback that's ever won a comp, realistically. Mate, I look at Talakai at centre, got Rami Mulatalo-Katoa, could Ito have a shot there? I know he's played a little bit there in reserve grade. I'd be interested to see how he goes there.
They're like the Dylan Edwards route of just heaps of work on his ball playing a little bit.
People talk about, Will Kennedy, he's safe, but I just think you could get more there. I think you need more than safe if you want to win a comp, in my opinion. I feel really bad saying that because he's been good, Will Kennedy.
It's maybe one of his better years. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think he's been excellent this year. And there are bigger strike weapon fullbacks in the competition, and maybe he is a premiership quality fullback, maybe he's not, but I think the star in this side, if they're going to win a comp, Nico Hines needs to be putting on more performances like the weekend, and he's the star of the show. And I think if Nico's doing that, and I think that's the only way that they can win a comp, then I think that Will Kennedy can continue to do a job at fullback. I think he's been great this year. He's been durable for them when a lot of their backup fullbacks for a number of years, Dykes, Ison have had these injuries, and I just think it's you bring in, whether it's you continue with the youth development or you bring in a 19 or 20-year-old from another club with a lot of upside to continue to heap pressure on him. I don't think his spot's ever going to be safe, but I think he's been really good this year.
What I'll say on the counter of that as well is that, Will Kennedy, he's won 500?
Well, I was about to say, yeah,
the value you're getting out of him is very good, which allows you to re-sign all these other dudes.
My point with Kennedy would be this: it all just depends on how much he's asking. If he's asking for 400 to 500, I'm definitely keeping him. I'm definitely keeping him because then you can sign rookies that are coming through, and then make the call, in a year's time or whatever. If he's asking, 600 to 700, that's when I start going. That's we probably need to spend our money elsewhere, because what I do think could work for them is Kennedy on his day he's outstanding. I actually think on his day he's not top tier, but he's probably a tier below it, which is good enough for me when you've spent the money elsewhere. So if they can spend the money elsewhere and have, I personally believe they've got the most underrated backline in the competition. You go look at all their stats. When they're on. You've got Katoa, Mulatalo, Ito, Rami, and I know Rami hasn't had the best year, but when he's on, he's on. If you can spend that money in another forward that's a tier below Adam Fanua Blake, but still there or thereabouts, then I go, it's worth it. And I feel like you can find other ways to kind of make it work. But it just all depends on how much is he asking and how much they spend.
There's an article from late May from Code Sports, and they said that, and again, this very much may have changed since May 24 when it came out, but Cronulla officials saying that he'd need to sign on for $300K per season, which he's worth more than that, put it that way.
Yeah, I think he's worth more.
Maybe not heaps more, but
he's definitely worth more.
He's worth $455.
Yeah. I'd get him about, if you get him $450, I reckon that's a good deal.
Yeah.
I reckon that's a good deal. I felt like 10 minutes before half time, the Sharks' defence was outstanding because the Dolphins actually completed 100% for 35 minutes, for the first 35 minutes. And I feel like the defence before half-time, where the Dolphins just had them under pressure, really did probably win them the game. And that's probably something that I know that they're a bit up and down, and you probably could look at their average leaked points per game. But when the Sharks turn up, they actually have a really good defence. It's just a matter of doing it week in, week out. But I thought just before half-time, their defence was outstanding. And I thought hasn't Wilton just under the radar, his try saver was incredible, but just under the radar gotten better each week. So much so, I'll never forget, was it against the Broncos? When he was on the field, he was tearing us apart. As soon as he went off, the game changed. Now, I'm not saying it was just him, but I tell you what, that point of attack that they were so easily getting, they just lost it. And so I just think T. Wilton's was one of those guys that is just getting better each game and probably doesn't get appreciated because Nikito is just so good on the other side. I think T. Wilton's underrated.
I think a couple of weeks ago when they had injuries, didn't he captain the side?
Maybe. I'm not
making that
sure.
up?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That'd be crazy. I'd be shocked if you did.
I could be wrong on that.
Could you Google that, please,
A
Matty?
couple of weeks ago. But yeah, mate, he's one that at the start of last season when Matt Moylan left. Yeah.
Wow.
Like he's
Okay. Interesting.
held in high regard over there at the Sharks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that says a lot then.
I was critical of him at the start of last year because defensively I wasn't convinced. And mate, Sharks fans absolutely pounded the shit out of me, and I thought it's a bit over the top, blah blah blah. But mate, they've turned out to be spot on.
Sharkies fans pounding the shit out of you, eh?
Yep, get what you deserve sometimes, mate.
And you're not the the rugby league guru. How did they spell it on Twitter? The fake account.
Which one?
Mate, I got to say,
Get in line, buddy.
Matty has shown me some of those tweets, and it's the funniest thing ever.
He words it well.
He does word it extremely well. Yeah. So look, T. Walton, I thought he had some really good moments. I'm just looking through my notes. Start of the game, Adam G, 3 yardage penalties. What's doing? Terrible head high. Fuck me dead. Outstanding kick chase, tackle, Brayley, Cuban, a psycho in goal, Paul kick, Fini Fuaki. Great save. Oh, sorry. I'm
That Fini Fuaki kick was wild.
It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
The ball. Yeah.
So, yeah, listen, I think it's a really good win for the Sharkies. You do have to say, though, and yes, the Dolphins have played well without key players in the, to start the year. They were missing, I think Nikodima was a real miss for them. Obviously, he's been so good this year. They were missing some players. So for the Sharkies, it's all about not getting too ahead of themselves. Good foundation. Roosters is going to be a mad clash next week. Roosters next week, I think.
Correct.
So good win. Okay, on to the Dolphins. Jeez. They laid such a good foundation to win this game. And as I said, the 100% completion rate, it kept them in the game in the first 20. They had a lot of field position. The Sharks defended their ass off. And so you've got this great foundation. But then they just had these moments. Like, I think Lemuelu had some really poor errors, tried to one-on-one strip. Then he had a clean drop ball. Obviously, the Fini Fuaki kick. There were just some moments where you're just going, a team that's already missing so many players, like, you did so well for 35, 40 minutes. You did, to be real, for the first half, really. And then that second half, you just completely undid all the good work that you did in the first half. So, look, I understand that they're missing key players, but that's the thing with the Dolphins this year. They've proven that they can play nearly anyone and get the job done.
They've set such a high standard for themselves that you sort of lose the context of all their injuries at times and whatnots. I'll tell you one thing that I really took out of this game was, if you go back to round one, Cody Nikorima, they had to move the game down to Sydney. He didn't play. Sean O'Sullivan came in. And if you have a look at their touches that game between Sean O'Sullivan and Isaiah, I think Isaiah had 3 more touches of the football then. And I remember coming on the show that week going, fuck, Isaiah is too polite to say, Sean, get the fuck out of the way. This is my football team. And you look at the way that he's, obviously developed over the last 15 weeks or so, and you have a look at their touches this week. Isaiah had almost 30 more touches than Sean O'Sullivan this week, which I just love to see.
Yeah.
His development.
Yeah.
Just shows that he's really starting to take control.
There's actually, it might have been after the game or it was close towards the end. They had him in a huddle and it was Katoa doing these ones.
Yeah.
And it's just like, geez, that is so good to see for the Dolphins. But just, as I said, they laid such a great foundation. They started the game so well, did everything right, literally everything they could possibly do right to get themselves into the game and fatigue the Sharkies. And they just come out in the second half and just lost it. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, they're a gritty outfit, aren't they? Like you said, they turned over too much ball late in that second half, chasing points, but said they almost hit the lead. They were within a whisker. And, while you want to be a little bit critical, they scored their 2 tries in the game late on, but they said they hung in the contest. They lost their fullback. They lost their 5'8", on top of an already big injury toll. They went down to Cronulla on a Friday night to open the round. There were a lot of things going against them. They had a debutant on the wing. So even like Sean O'Sullivan came in and he was just the focal point of where the Sharks were trying to attack. And they got through him. They got on top of him a few times in this game. So they've just had a lot of personnel changes. And again, it wasn't pretty at times, but they still gave them a chance to win a game where, as we said, this was everything for the Sharkies, and they got up for it. Not their best game, but they've been good.
And they found the Sharkies after a bye. Just quickly, Katoa's average run meters this year is 116 meters.
It's gone through the roof. Yep.
Like, it just shows you that I think he's probably taken a leaf out of Cleary's book. You know, go back to his early years, about 60 metres. As soon as he started running 100 metres and over, he obviously won all those premierships. Just how much the conservative sevens role has changed. Like, it is just, you know, when we were growing up, it was, if you're a seven, you don't even, you know, it's good if you have a running game, but really you're there to guide around the park, be a good ball player. Now it's almost like you have to have a running game. Just crazy. Absolutely
so
crazy.
Isaiah in his first year, he averaged 46 run metres per game. Second year, 80 metres. Now he's at 116.
Jeez. Now I've got to talk about it. Herbie Farnworth. I think it was one or two reads in defence, but outside of that, my God, this guy, his ability to play well. He plays 9 out of 10 every single week. Like, I can't even remember a time where he was 8 out of 10. That's how good he's been. I thought in attack especially, he was absolutely phenomenal. You know, you can look at his stats for sure, and they're massive. You know, 23 runs, 257 metres, 69 post contact, 7 tackle breaks, 2 line breaks, a line break assist, 5 offloads, 10 tackles, only 2 misses. You can look at that, but it's just, he's the heart and soul of that team. And I really do feel like, yes, the Broncos are beginning to learn of life without Herbie. But if you ever want to see how much he means to a side, look how much they missed him the year that he left. And I think if you plucked him out of this Dolphin side, like, it genuinely would change the whole fabric of that side. He is an integral part to nearly every single set because he nearly has a run every single set.
Him and Critter, who's the best centre in rugby league? I'd still go Critter personally, but...
I go Critter just these big moments. And also, like, because he's had these great Origin games too, and that's what was always going to work against Herbie, is that he hasn't had the opportunity to play in these Origin games.
Yep.
And obviously the captaincy of Critter as well. But when you're looking at just stats, if you took out names, it's Herbie. Just
you go
stats.
blank resume, it's Herbie now.
With the stats. Oh, yeah, as in individual performances.
Stats this year, Herbie's just been on another level.
But, you know, as we always say, it's more to rugby league and stats, blah, 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 all that good stuff. What do you think of Herbie, mate? Jimmy?
Yeah, he's a freak. I would still have Critter ahead of him just because, like, there are a few moments in this game where he was caught out defensively with a few poor reads. That just almost doesn't exist with Critter nowadays. But, I mean, in attack, he's just absurd. Like, that run he made and the try he scored, he's obviously quite a big boy, very lean frame, but the footwork he's got, and he's equal leader in the competition for offloads per game with Terrell May.
That's crazy.
Mate, every time he goes into contact, he finds a way to pop it out. He's bonkers.
Yeah, and what's interesting about him is that usually a tackle breaker like that is quite a stocky frame. He'd be about 6'2", quite lean, just a super athlete, just an absolute super athlete. Yeah, so I thought he was outstanding. But yeah, with the Dolphins, it really was just a matter of just some key moments that I'm sure they really would have wished back. And I did think their forwards got fairly dominated as well. So, yeah, anything else on the Dolphins before we move on, mate?
No, I think you've covered it off pretty well. Obviously, a couple of guys, or mainly Hammy didn't kind of back up from Origin. That's a big out for them, obviously. But
on top of all the guys already missing as well.
Exactly, doesn't help.
Just shout out to the debutant too. I thought he did really well. He had an error at the back end of the game. I think he's a little bit raw at the moment, but I think Nafahu's got a big future in our game too.
Absolutely. I thought he was great too. Really, really solid. Okay, Newey Knights versus the Melbourne Storm, 32-14. 32-14. I will say, and maybe I'm being a Knights apologist, I actually thought, the Storm did run away with it. Their class got them there in the end with Hughes just putting on, and Katoa, really. Hughes and Katoa, we're going to say that name every single game. But I think that the first half, they did a really good job. They were really gutsy. It was just, I'm just getting my notes here. It was just the second half I felt that the Storm just went to another level and they just really struggled for that period after, I think it was half time, to win any of the contact. And the speed of the game went up just a little bit of a notch, and they just didn't have a way to wrangle it back. Leo Thompson, he did a really good job almost by himself, fighting that momentum back and just doing anything he could to get that momentum. But once it was lost, I felt like they really just struggled to rein it all in. I think they did a little bit towards the end there, but to be honest, it's hard to be too critical of the Knights when you consider they're missing Kalen Ponga. The Melbourne Storm are premiership favourites. And they, for 40 to 50 minutes, they were really in the grind there. I know it ended up, the score looks a bit dramatic, and it was a convincing win in the end. I can't be too critical of the Knights, so if I'm being honest.
I'll tell you the moment in this one that I thought really broke the Knights' heart was, they were hanging in, defending well, then fucking rebound off the sticks that lands in Trent Leroy's hands.
Yeah.
Across, I did feel like at that moment you sort of just saw Newcastle to go, fuck, we need that shit to happen to us.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. But, the Melbourne Storm, they did have, plenty of key players out and whatnot. I don't want to steal this off Timmy, but I'll push him over the edge quickly. Harry Grant backing up from Origin.
Mate, very strange.
What in the fuck is going on?
Number 1 in caps on my notes.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I don't. The bloke is so pivotal to their premiership credentials. He's already missed 5 or 6 weeks earlier in the year with a hamstring injury. He played 80 minutes in Origin 3 days ago. They obviously had the trip to Perth. All these games he's backed up and played. Not only does he back up, but they dropped Bronson Garlick, the reserve hooker, off the bench to 18th man. So they didn't have a backup hooker. They obviously ended up going Wishart tonight. He played about 60, 65 minutes, Harry Grant. Had the Knights stayed in that game, I wonder if he would have gone 80, and I think there's every chance he didn't. Pezzett wouldn't have gone on because Wishart went to 9. I just don't understand it, mate. I think they're playing with fire. I credit Harry Grant for backing up. I assume they got on the piss quite hard after the game, and a few days later he's playing big minutes for his club. What a legend. But the Storm are sitting second. They're sitting pretty. I just don't know why they do it.
And you could have solved the problem without even using Bronson Garlick. You could have played Wishy at 9 and played Pezzett in the halves.
I think it's evidence that Bellamy is still not happy with where they're at right now. Because if he was happy with where they had that great performance against the Sharkies, pretty good, he's okay against the Knights. I think if he was happy with where they were, I think he probably doesn't play him. I'd assume that.
Yeah,
you go.
I'll say, I know I'm no medical expert, so I reached out, I think, after maybe he backed up game 2 to NRL Physio, and I asked him, mate, is it just me having lack of knowledge? Is it actually not that bad? And he goes, he couldn't believe that all these players are backing up. And he said, there's going to be soft tissue injuries. And I look at the amount of clubs across the competition that did rest Origin players and gave them a spell this week. No, we've got bigger fish to fry and bigger goals later on in the season than winning a game in round 19, especially a team coming second. There are teams who rested players. Penrith, for example, they do need wins and pushing for a top 4 spot and to sort of lock in the finals. And I went, I'll rest my players. They need it. And Bellake's just gone, we'll play you again.
I thought it was so interesting the other day on that podcast that Money, Hughes and Pappy had Cameron Smith on. They were talking backing up from Origin. And Hughesy flat out asked him a question. He was like, you guys used to back up all the time. Like, why'd you do that? And he was like, just pride in the jersey. Blah, blah.
Yeah.
But the way he asked the question to me, it just doesn't add up by what they actually do week to week after Origin.
Yeah. I think it's just a generational thing. My understanding when I used to play, it was all about giving back to your club.
Yeah.
We've released you, we've allowed you to go and do this thing, and we're going to support you 100% in it. But now you need to show how much you care about the club.
Which I back 100%. But the way that Hughes asked that question was almost like that was a thing of the past.
Oh, it's a generational gap for sure. I think in 10 years' time we won't be seeing it. I actually think it'll be they'll stop it. They'll literally be like, you can't do it.
And played Origin 2 in Perth. Was on the Saturday, the 3-day backup from the Perth game, and he played 84 minutes in Golden Point against the Bunnies. And then he backs up and plays massive minutes again after Origin 3. And for what it's worth, it's not on the player. It's on just the coach, because players always want to back up. And they do want to wear that badge of toughness. No, I can do this, and go to a new level. But surely it's on the coach to go, no, mate, take it off. We need you, week 1 of finals, fresh and ready to go.
So we'll speak about Storm, we'll get to the Knights after that. In regards to the Storm, we spoke about it last week. Katoa isn't just one of the best back rowers in the comp. He's one of the best players in the comp right now. He has been nothing short of incredible this season, and I get it. In Melbourne, I get all that, Origin, all that talk, but this guy is turning into one of the most well-rounded edge back rowers I've ever seen in my life. Think about, when was the last time we saw a back rower that did all of this? That his defense is some of the best in the competition. His ball running some of the best. He's got an offload. He's got silky hands. Oh, by the way, I'm just going to add, I'm as good as Lomax under the high ball. You could argue he's better than Lomax under the high ball at the moment. That's how good he's going. I can't remember a time where an edge back rower had this many weapons at his disposal. And on top of all that, is also one of the better defenders in the competition. It's incredible what this player has turned into at the Melbourne Storm. Katoa, take a bow. It's just amazing stuff.
Yeah, I posted a thing on social media a little bit earlier today about him being the best back rower in the game, and a lot of comments about Hudson Young, which is very fair. Jeez, if you have a look at their stats this year and compare them, Christ, they're tight.
Mate, 100%.
10 tries to 9 in favour of Hudson. You got Hudson's had 8 line breaks. Eli Katoa's had 5. Line break assists, Eli Katoa's winning. Offloads, Eli's had 10 more than Hudson. Tackle efficiency, Eli's winning by 1%. This year, Hudson's averaging 147 run metres per game. Eli's at 146. They are so tight. The one thing that I would say is, as you just said, mate, they are building sets around kicking to Eli Katoa. He scored a try off a kick on the left-hand side of the field last week. It's a right edge back rower. It's incredible.
It's amazing. I reckon this Hughes Katoa combination is one of the best combinations I've seen in an extremely long time. Like, when I say, like, as in at least the last 4 or 5 years, maybe longer. Like, their ability to just go get Hughes the ball, he'll either score a try or Katoa will score a try. It's almost second to none.
Yeah, he's a freak, isn't he? And like earlier on in the year when he was leaving me over the top of players, I was like, wow, this is incredible. I'm just used to it now. Like, it's just the norm for Eli Katoa week in, week out. And you mentioned like him, Zach Lomax in the air, Kempy. You know, I'm not going to say he's a better player in the air than him. However, if you're a fullback or a winger or wherever it is trying to defend Zach Lomax, at least you go, all right, body weight wise, I'm similar enough. When Eli Katoa's coming over the top of you, he's just going to bump you out of the way and catch it every time.
Yeah. I reckon he would have a higher catch percentage this year.
Than Lomax?
Yeah, I reckon.
Without a doubt he would, yes.
Like, he very rarely does he, if he doesn't catch it, he knocks it back.
But
it's just
I think
crazy.
that's the other advantage of, you know, him having that skill set is that quite often the matchups they're putting him in, like when you look at Zach Lomax, every week he's in an aerial contest with a winger. Eli Katoa is quite often in aerial contests with guys because you're able to kick it in different areas. The one thing that annoys me with how teams use Zach Lomax is that they constantly put him like that. They use their whole sets to get him in those contests, but then they just put him in spots where he's going up against other aerial guys.
And funnily enough, Dragons actually were pretty good at not doing that. They used to do those midfield bombs for him, and he used to be able to get over the fullback.
We used to always tell the Tigers up. He always scored 2 or 3 tries against us off the exact same play.
Where like the closest thing we've seen to this was Nanai a couple of years ago, and Chad was just putting it on halves and back rowers, and he was getting up for it.
I just can't believe how well-rounded this bloke is. What's his tackle efficiency on the edge there?
91.
Bro, that's crazy. 91% on an edge, where you're basically, it is you that makes the right or wrong call for the rest of the men outside you. Just amazing. It's funny too, because it's almost the complete opposite of what the Melbourne Storm had for so many years. Like, usually the Melbourne Storm, you know, they had 2 defensive-minded edge back rowers. Now, Bromwich had a bit of attacking flair, whereas I feel like Kaufusi was out-and-out defensive. Got to do their work, obviously. But it's almost like Bellamy's gone, oh, actually, I'll make you one of the better defensive in your first year, but then also I'll also mould you into one of the best attacking weapons in the competition. There's an argument to be made when the game needs something to break it open, he's the best in the competition.
His win percentage over the last few years is like 72% at the Melbourne Storm.
Like, imagine taking him out of that side. I know Blaw's been getting better each game, but it's a little bit like Kickow in the first year at the Panthers, where they just would throw the ball to him to get a quick play of the ball. It's similar to Katoa. So, mate, I just wanted to give him his flowers. He's been absolutely phenomenal. Okay, we've got to talk about him. But Jerome Hughes, I mean, we speak about him every single week, but talk about just going, all right, game's on the line, boom, 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 try, game over, thanks for coming. Like, truly, the only other time we saw it was with Cleary against the Eels when he came on. The game was on the line. He just came on for 60 minutes, said, thank you, put it away, then went off. Similar to what Hughes did in second half. Just came on, just said, thank you, okay, game over.
Yeah, I think they were down maybe 8-6 at the time. And Jerome Hughes essentially ended the game in 5 minutes. He went to short ball assist to Trent Loiero. Then off the kickoff set, he hit a 40-20. And then he had that peach of a pass for Kane Bradley.
Yep.
And it just went boom, boom, boom. Near enough game over. I can't believe how quickly and almost single-handedly he won in that game and how quickly he turned it.
Yeah, so 43 minutes, 47 minutes, and 58th minute. Gone.
Without Munster, without Pappy.
Just like, I got to say, it's so bizarre how I'll never forget, and I've already put my hand up and said I got this wrong. I'll never forget when he'd re-signed that year, maybe at the end of the year before, and then there was reports that his manager was already saying that they wanted to redo his deal or whatever. And I was like, man, you just re-sign, like, come on or whatever. I was totally wrong. The manager had every right to go back for a renegotiation. He should absolutely be on around $1 million a year, and he's proven it. And matter of fact, I think, yes, Harry Grant is, he's still probably the heartbeat because he's the captain of the side. But if you've got Hughes above Harry Grant in importance, I wouldn't push back that hard. I think that Harry Grant unlocks Hughes a lot, but I wouldn't push back that hard. That's how important Hughes is to the side. Funnily enough, it actually, for now, it goes, let's just say it goes Grant, Hughes, Munster. Whereas 2 years ago, it was Munster by far and away the main man, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Which is actually scary for the Storm, because if Grant, Hughes have this incredible game and then Munster does what he does in Origin in the big games, then they're unstoppable, literally unstoppable.
Yeah, you're right. It's hard to compare the importance because of how important Harry Grant is to Jerome Hughes. And the Melbourne Storm, we saw it in that sort of probably 15-minute window. When they are rolling through the middle, they are near unstoppable. Game over. And we've spoken about it time and time again, but Harry's ability to play off the back of it and just scoop up and take off, and Jerome Hughes goes with him, Cam Munster goes with him. When they've got sides backpedaling, they're between Pappenhausen, Hughes, Munster, Grant. There's so much class. They just make the right decision every time, and there are so many different attacking threats. They're near unstoppable. The question come finals time is, all right, against the Raiders, against some of the bigger packs in the competition, what if they don't get that roll on, and can they get up against these bigger packs? Maybe they can, maybe they can't, but when they do, you can't stop them.
Oh, absolutely. I watched the Melbourne Storm, and it's so different to watching nearly any other team. The amount of teams that I see, even top four sides, that they get all this field position, and it's like they get turned away. If the Melbourne Storm get field position, they will score.
And that's where, like, oppositions, when it comes to finals time, there will be patches in games where they get these roll-ons, and that's where the coach, the captain have to say, guys, it might seem like they're unstoppable in this period. We need to lift and we need to wrestle back some momentum, because if we do, the game changes more than against any other team in the competition.
Yeah, and you saw it in the start of that second half, because I feel like the Knights just got caught in the blocks in the second half, and the Storm just did what they always do. It's just there's this 20 minutes of football or 15 minutes of football where they just go, I wonder whether they call like a red set or something like that. Like, I wonder whether there is a call to up the speed and momentum, because that's exactly what happened. They came out the second half, and as you said, bang, bang, bang. Game was essentially over. It's a scary prospect, really, really scary prospect. Like, I've got my notes here. Not only did he have the try assist, literally the set after, he nails a 40-20, and then he goes and nails another try assist for Bradley. All in like the space. So on top of all those try assists, he was nailing 40-20s as well. Like, I'm
pretty sure it was a 4-minute window.
Yeah, crazy. Like, think about how much impact. Like, when was the last time you saw a player have that much impact in a game in such a short period of time? Just mental. Just like, even with Cleary coming on with the Eels, it took him time to build into that, what he did in the end there. So really, really good stuff. Just move on quickly. Anyone else, guys, stand out for you?
Joe Chan did a magnificent job on Bradman Best. One of the hardest tasks in the NRL. And the week before, we saw he got skinned by Purdue at one point. And thought, surely there's someone who actually plays centre or wing that you can bring in this lineup. Persisted with Chan. I thought he did a great job on him.
I just thought there were a couple of guys backing up from Origin. I think Stefano probably at his best game of the series, game 3. I thought he was pretty good in this game as well. Didn't miss a tackle, 31 made, ran for 118 metres. And then obviously Trent Liero came back as well. A couple of meat pies, 130 odd metres. The GOAT, as we will call him.
Yeah, we're calling him on.
He's living up to the
GOAT status.
To the hype. Yeah.
One of the true Queensland picks. Like, when they have these big wins, there's usually one guy that a lot of people had questions about bringing them into the squad. Yeah. They go back to Clubland and they get all this confidence, and all of a sudden they're well beaters.
Yeah, it was a masterstroke, but without getting into Origin, by Billy, that the guys at 13. Yeah. Pick him there. Use Pat Carrigan as the impact guy.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, it made sense.
And Paddy Carrigan in 30 minutes, like 130 metres. Whereas like Trent Lioro is not going to do that off the bench. He's going to defend his ass off in the middle there.
So just like on Melbourne and just looking how this, comp's playing out, do we all agree Melbourne are going to finish top 2?
Yep.
Sweet. Raiders, they're already 1 win ahead. They've got 1 bye to come, so they're essentially two wins ahead of Melbourne. I just don't know which teams are going to go down to Canberra or Melbourne and beat them.
Their forward pack, like the Raiders' forward pack scares the shit out of me, and then the Melbourne's spine just scared the shit out of me.
I think like Cleary's and his Panthers are probably the only team that can go down there and beat either of them, I reckon.
Yeah. Unless you get a Broncos that play 80 minutes.
Sure,
but that's not probably not going to happen.
A long way off getting that evidence.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, great win from Storm. Okay, on to the Knights. As I said, I thought their first half was great. Really, really good. Considering, it's a tough pill to swallow from a Knights fan because you finally get Saifidi and Leo Thompson with Kai Pearce-Paul, Lucas and Frizzell at 13. So you essentially finally get your starting forward pack back in the game. And you saw what they can do. They went toe-to-toe with the Melbourne Storm and hung in there for, as long as they could hang in there. And granted, they got left in the blocks, which they need to fix. But, they got left in the blocks by the best 7 in the game, essentially. He's a Dally M winner, at least one of them, with Harry Grant, with everything. So I just look at it and I just go, it's a bittersweet game because, yes, it was a convincing loss. However, it's against the Premiership heavyweights, and you saw if they were injury-free, what they could have been this season. Because I thought their forward pack was outstanding in this game. And you saw moments of brilliance from Best. He seems to be back at his best. He had 10 tackle breaks, 205 metres. Dane Gagai, 249 metres. He played fullback, I'm pretty sure, which was interesting to watch. And Dom Young, he was outstanding. And so I can't be too harsh. I like what I saw at the Knights. I really did.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I like the move of Gagai to fullback in this game. I think Fletcher Hunt, he's still sort of finding his feet in first grade for me. I like the move of Gagai. Boys, why aren't they re-signing this dude?
Bizarre.
I feel like I'm missing something.
They've got this young guy coming through, McCarthy, I think we've seen him a few times, and he looks good. He looks really good. But if I can get Dan Gagai for $400K...
Yeah, it doesn't sound like he's asking for a heap.
Mate, stick him in resis and he can play anywhere in the back line if you need him. You can play wing, fullback, centre.
Oh, fuck resis. He's your best outside back.
Oh, I know that, but I'm just saying.
It's crazy.
What I'm saying is, if you're looking at the price tag, if you, at worst case scenario, if he's in resis, that's not breaking the bank for a ready-to-go outside back, no matter who gets injured in the back line.
And especially considering your history, you can't keep guys fit. Gagai tends to be fit heaps.
Also, what about the lessons he's teaching these young fellas?
Yeah, wild. I'll tell you, I think one silver lining for the Knights, silver lining, Dylan Lucas obviously injured, brings an end to his season. Liz Frank injury, dreadful.
Two Liz Frank, Jesus.
I reckon over the next few weeks, Jermaine McEwen, I reckon he'll get an opportunity on the edge. I reckon he's a real player of the future. I think Knights fans will get a little look into what life will be like without Kai Pearce-Paul next year with this kid. And I think he's going to be a real talent.
Dill Lucas, locked in player of the year for the Knights?
Yeah, probably.
For me, I've locked him in player of the year for the Knights.
It'd be him or Sharp.
No, I think he's been much more consistent than Sharp over there. I think every single game he's played, he's been one of the best players on the field.
The only thing working against him is just he'll have missed a lot of footy by the end of the season. He's going to miss the rest of the season. He missed a good chunk early on. He's been their best, absolutely. Just whether or not he's played enough footy. But yes.
He's my player of the year. I think if you're a Knights fan, and yes, there's been so much negativity, it's been a tough year, I get it, but at least you saw Dylan Lucas come, and essentially if he was fit, he would have been around that Origin squad, I reckon.
He's outstanding, and they've, you feel sorry for them in that they've now lost for the rest of the season, or near enough, their three best players.
It's crazy.
Sharp and Dylan Lucas now, so it sucks for them. Yeah, I thought they were decent for the first half. I'm probably a bit more critical in that they had a huge win behind them, and they made use of it early, cut the tries, but as soon as that wind turned, they just couldn't stop Melbourne. And look, they're not the only team who would have been like that, but they were aided by that big win in the first half.
But do you think, though, that 32-14 against the Premiership heavyweights in a year that you're not in the top 8, isn't that a pretty...
Yes. You've got to remember, though, that the Premiership heavyweights were also missing their superstar 5'8", their star fullback, their star winger. They had a lot out as well.
But so were the Knights.
Yeah, I know.
Kind of evens out.
Yeah.
I reckon. I thought it was a brave effort.
I think the early tries with the win behind them helped. But, yeah, they were okay.
Now, just on that conversation before about Dill Lucas, Fletcher Sharp, if one of them doesn't get player of the year for them, I reckon it'll probably be Dane Gagai.
Yeah.
He's played every single game so far this year. Finishes the season at fullback.
They probably won't, though.
They probably won't out of principle, but...
Yeah. Geez, I got to say, Brad Best, the last few weeks, just a reminder of how damaging this guy is. He's a beast, an absolute beast on the edge there. Just one of those players that is stuck behind two absolute throbbers in the centres. But if there's any injuries, and Bradman Best is fit, he'd be straight in there. And I think that he'd do a darn good job in Origin. I know he's already done it, but I think he'll do it in most games. Because he suits Origin, the physicality. As long as his defence is sweet, he suits the physicality of Origin, in my opinion. I just think he's so good.
Absolutely. With all the soft tissue injuries he's had in his career and even this year, I thought he'd come back and he'd take a bit of time to warm back into it. From his first game back from injury about a month ago, he's looked unbelievable.
Just like, it shocked me. I'm with you, mate. I thought, build back into it. He has just gone straight back into it and just gone, I'm better than everyone else. Just so good.
I agree with you that Joe Tan did a good job on him. But I thought they could have got him more opportunity in that game.
For sure.
Bradman Best more opportunity? Yeah, maybe. All I know is that guy was a problem. 10 tackle breaks. Jesus Christ. 200.
I was also a bit surprised, and maybe I'm nitpicking, but I was a bit surprised. Jackson Hastings played on the right-hand side in this game. Why wouldn't you play him on the left when he's played on the left every time he's been there? He's already got a combination with Bradman Best out there. They played really good footy together. I didn't understand that.
I'm done just trying to understand.
I don't want to.
And let's just change our 9 and our 13 again and our Crossland and Brayley and start a new hooker, and it's just like the poor blokes in these, not even the spine, the entire team trying to put combinations together. Geez, it must be hard with a new bloke inside and outside you every week.
Mate, I've been saying all since last year, they play well in spite of some of these decisions that are being made. Now, just quickly before we move on, Dom Young, talk about just suiting a place. Goes back to the Knights and just rips, absolutely rips. What a performance by him. That one of those tries was just like, a big fella like that shouldn't be able to do that stuff. Shouldn't be able to do that stuff.
When he scored that try and got up celebrating, I thought, no way. This is a poker face. There's not a hope in hell you've got that ball.
Like, is he serious? And I will say, from a Knights perspective, again, that's why I just feel like this game is so bittersweet, because you saw what really should have been, like Dom Young should have never left and, all that good stuff. With Dom Young in the side, they've at least got an extra 2 tries or so a game. You know what I mean? Like, so the big problem they've had for so long is just being so, pedestrian in attack. Whereas when you bring Dom Young in, he just opens things up. And obviously Bradman Best in and out of the side. At full strength, they do have guys like Best and Young that can break the game open. So that's just a bit of a bittersweet game for Knights fans, in my opinion.
Isn't he just at home there? It just feels so right. See the big fella streaking down that right touch line, and you can only tell so much from the coverage, but it looks like the locals have welcomed him back with open arms.
Yeah.
And when he scored those tries and the crowd erupted on a Saturday afternoon in the Hunter, it was just like, this feels so right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think his brother's signed with Cessnock as well up there.
Oh, okay.
They're all up there.
And it just also proves that, sometimes it's not even about if there's a good coach at a club and a good player. It's just about sometimes players gel in certain systems and sometimes they don't. Like, some people really thrive in the Rooster system, some people don't. Some people really thrive in the Knights system, some people don't. Okay, now on to the next game. The Dragons are defeated by the Roosters, 31-24. I am torn on which way to go with this, because I could sit here and go, brave effort from the Dragons. Brave effort. They hung in there. The game was relatively close, some calls here or there. However, this has been the story of the Dragons season. And at what point do you go, brave effort all you want, but you're not getting the win? And that's like, you go back to the start of the year, and there were some Dragons a little bit frustrated with us, but we kept saying these games are season defining. The games where you definitely should have won, where you literally botched the win, look what's happened. If you just add 2 wins to this Dragon side, all of a sudden, you're fighting for the 8, season's relatively good. So just another lost opportunity from the Dragons, in my opinion. Another lost opportunity. What do you reckon, Roo?
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. They've obviously made some really good signings this year. They've had injuries and whatnot. But, winning's a habit, as they say in the Dragons. They just don't seem to have it at the moment.
And look, I know there's a big yarn about, not being critical, but I've got to be critical of Kyle Flanagan. He had 2 kicks in the first half. 2 kicks? Like, how are you going to win field position when your 7's having 2 kicks? So in the first half, he had 2 kicks. Sorry, I just bloody lost my spot. Apologies, 2 seconds. Yeah, so he had 2 kicks for 78 metres. And it was roughly about 15 sets in comparison to Hugo, who had 6 kicks. just a real, I'm not solely blaming it on Kyle Flanagan, but geez, that can't help your team. Having 2 kicks, kept running it on the 5th and last. And I think that's where Dragons fans' frustration is that like, yeah, okay, was Kyle Flanagan terrible? No, he wasn't terrible at all. But at the same time, like, as an NRL 7, you've got to finish your sets better than that. So, as I said, I understand he's been under the pump lately. I'm not trying to add to that at all. Like, I believe this is a fair critique in my opinion. I know it comes at a bad time with everything going on, but I think it's a fair critique. 2 kicks is just not good enough in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at an overview, from an analytical standpoint, you can take what you want from this game, can't you? Because the attack of both sides was outstanding. They both looked terrific. The defence of both sides, particularly that first half, it was out the window. No one could make a tackle. Like, there were gaps opening up everywhere. There was second phase, and they both, tightened the D a fair bit in the second half and got better. But, mate, I think the difference in the game, it was Sammy Walker with a snap field goal on half time.
Yeah.
A couple of seconds running down. I can't believe sides don't do it a bit more, because with 15 minutes to go, the Dragons made a comeback and they had this little 1-point lead, and all that meant was that the end of the game, when the Dragons were forcing passes, chasing points, and the Roosters were able to defend it and sort of play that high percentage footy, and the Dragons had turnover, it was all because of a snap little field goal that no one... I can't believe how little it happens in the game, and it seems to be getting more and more rare, just before the break, put the pressure on, and yeah, I think that was the difference.
Is Sam Walker the best field goal taker in the comp? I reckon he is. Mate, he nails them nearly any chance he gets. It's a little pot shot off, like, from 25 out.
And when people come at him with, the arms up, trying to charge him down, the way he, gets under the ball, he hits him so high.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a 9-9.
Other people smack him flat.
Yeah.
And they get charged down. He goes over them.
Yeah. It's very unique the way he kicks it. And he seems to nail it every chance. Maybe I'm misremembering ones he's missed, but I feel like the amount of games in his short career he's already won from field goals is crazy. I guess...
How many field goals do you reckon he's kicked in his career so far? He's played 78 games.
10?
What do you reckon?
I don't know, 13.
7. I thought it'd be more than that.
7? Still 7's pretty good for
a short
game. I'm with you. Like, Sam Walker, didn't he just remind you just how bloody good he is in attack? I know he had a mixed game, and obviously there's 10 in the bin or whatever. I will say I was genuinely, look, for where the Roosters want to be, I was genuinely surprised at how weak their defence was on their line. Both teams. Like, the first time the Dragons got up there, they scored just a catch and pass try, essentially. The first time the Roosters got up there, they scored just a catch and try. And it was just like a back and forth. And I'm just sitting there going, like, after watching, Origin and, some of the better matches, Panthers and Bulldogs the week before, I was just like, wow. Both teams kind of managed to shore it up a little bit. But I do think it's a good point. In regards to Sam Walker, probably really was the difference. He probably really was the difference.
Well, if you heard Victor Radley on Matty Johns' show last night, he sort of said that throughout the game, because they always knew they had that extra 1 point little buffer, that it made a huge difference, scoreboard pressure.
All right, we'll talk about Dragons and we'll get into the Roosters. As I said, so by the end of the game, Kyle Flanagan, he had 5 kicks for 199 metres. Again, I just think that if you're the type of 7 Flano is, you've got to be controlling the game a little bit more than that. So that means that in the first half, he had 2 kicks. In the second, I think he had 3 kicks. So I just think their end of sets, especially in a game where you lose essentially by a try, give or take. I think if he was controlling the game a little bit better and got a few more kicks, like, surely that's an extra try or so with just field pressure or field position pressure. So I reckon that's really disappointing from that perspective. But there are also some things to really like as well in the Dragons, as always. You can really, nearly watching every game for the Dragons, except for a couple, it really just depends how you're looking at it. And the only reason why I'm a little bit harsher this game, it's like, at what point do you stop going, oh, we were close, and a loss is a loss, and that's the unfortunate thing.
I thought Jaden Stewart was really good in this game.
Yep, outstanding.
Had some really, really nice touches. The other one as well, off the bench, we spoke about him last week, but Michael Molo, he only played for 28 minutes. He ran for 100 odd metres. I really like the look of him.
Absolutely.
Did Leilua pick up an injury in this game? Laceration or something?
I think so.
Anyway, he's a guy that I think I'd be finding more minutes for over the next few weeks, Molo.
Sua was unreal. It was his 150th game. That tip on where he cut out Sully for Sloane, that was brilliant. Like, back row shouldn't be able to do that. Ran that unreal line later on to score as well. He was great.
Yeah, 200 metres as well,
Yeah.
near enough. I mean, he obviously played at Origin last year. Would have probably been a little bit dirty to miss out this time around. But, you know, if you can kind of keep this form running, you'd have to be back in the frame for Queensland next year.
Yeah, speaking of State of Origin and whatnot, Val Holmes. He's been a great signing for them.
Oh, mate.
He's been incredible this season.
Absolutely.
And just the goal kicking just continued. Like, he had a lot of shots from out wide as well in this one. Just can't miss the moment.
Mate, that goal kicking, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's been a good goal kicker, but recently the run he's been on, big pressure kicks as well, been outstanding. Absolutely outstanding.
Could have stayed in the NFL as a kicker.
Yeah, mate, get paid bazillion dollars. Look, I know he would never do it again. I know it was just a one-off, but jeez, that offload from Clemmer after points, just like, again, when the season's on the line and you lose by just a try, like, it's just all those little moments for Dragons that just don't seem to be coming together. Again, I know he's one of the safest forwards in the side, and it was just a brain explosion, but geez, that kills you.
Especially after having, I think it's the best month of footy he's played in a few years.
He's been great. He's been great. Outside of that, yeah, again, I'm just that early back and forth. Like, if one of those sides have kind of just stop the flow a little bit, it changes the whole game.
Yeah, well, the first 2 tries, they had Billy Smith sort of sweeping at the back and he tipped on for Tupu. Our man, Tyrell Sloane, he's like, the first one, he jammed for just no reason at all. And it just became like a training run. It was the softest try and I just don't know what he was doing. And then there was the second try as well. They did the exact same motion. They went through and the second one wasn't entirely on Sloane's fault because they were short in the first place, but he was just sort of caught in no man's land again. And I think it might have been last week. You might have had him team of the week. He was outstanding. He backed it up with this with a few defensive plays that just left you scratching your head. That was bang, bang, 2 tries to 0 down, straight off the bat, and it just put him under pressure from the
And then later in the game, game's on the line, he gives away a penalty, getting in the niggle.
Must be so frustrating, coach.
Mate.
Because you know it's there. You see it every second week, basically, but then he backs it up with this, and it's like...
Yeah. What about Leilua's pick-up on his absolute bootlaces? I think it was maybe the Val Holmes try or try assist.
It was the Val tipped on to...
Oh, my God, the winger, Fainu. That pickup from Leilua, like, when you see that, you're like, that's what you can do. Like Leilua at his best can go with any back row in the comp. And that pickup, honestly, there are some back rowers that are at the top tier that couldn't pick that up like that. That was
Some halves
amazing.
that wouldn't pick that up.
It was crazy. Absolutely, like, essentially full pelt, just full pelt all the way down.
Yeah, he was doing some classy stuff on the weekend. He had like a bit of a Harlem Globetrotters moment as well, kind of like threw one over the top. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, as I said, it's one of those ones where, look, you're there or thereabouts, you know, but at the end of the day, you're still still losing. Any other? I guess I thought Gutho was a little bit quiet in this game. He was quite quiet. I think I will say with Gutho, I feel like the start of the year he was outstanding. I feel like he's getting a bit fatigued at the back end of the year. But yeah, just a really, really disappointing loss for the Dragons. Anyone else side of that, boys?
No.
I've got to say, losing to Bellin, my God, I don't know how they're going to plug that hole. He is just so good for them. He's so good for them. I know they got good young guys coming through, but I still think that, like, geez, it's a tough loss.
A lot of depth in guys like Dylan Egan, Hamish Stewart. I think they'll be okay. More to the point, just a great pick up for Parramatta.
Great pick up for Parramatta.
Yeah, I don't hate the Dragons letting him go. Like, how often do we sit here and complain about the Dragons letting all this talent go? They never keep them. Like, do you want to keep DeBellin for another 18 months, or do you want to shore up this talent into the future?
I feel like if there was one older guy, he's like the last one I would choose to allow to go. I understand it, and I'm with you. How often do we sit here and say, oh, they always saw all these older guys? But at the moment, he's been one of their best forwards all year long. Like, he's been really good. On to the Roosters. Obviously, Tedesco, he made team of the week. He's basically locked in for the Dallin. Surely. Who's going to catch him?
Yeah, it's tough to see.
Him or Katoa, and I think Isaiah, it's going to be tough with all their injuries. So I think Teddy's an absolute shit in. Like,
he truly took that game on his back and just said, boys, I'm going to do anything I can to win this game, and did that. 11 tackle breaks.
Sniff for an Ashes recall? Or have they just kind of moved on from rep stuff?
I think they've just moved on for rep stuff. just because he's such a senior player, and he's also not just a senior player in the sense that, you know, he fits into any system. Like, Teddy's the kind of player where he's the main player in most teams. And I just wonder whether you look at him and you go, if you're going to bring him back in, he needs to be one of the main guys. And they've just got too many dominant players in that spine. Then you've got Harry Grant, you've got Teddy, you've got Cleary, like trying to say, and then you've got probably Munster at 6. It's too many chefs in the kitchen, you know?
Yeah.
Outside of that, what about some of Nwanga Nituase's flicks? My God, I know they didn't fully come off, but I think Teddy actually might have just dropped one. I think Wong offloaded, and after Nwanga Nituase. I will say I loved Trent Robinson's discussion on the end. He said, listen, we say this is what we need you to get right, which is defence and your end of coming out of trouble runs, and then we leave the rest to him in attack. And I was like, I'm so glad to hear that from Robinson. And that's one area where I think the Roosters do a really good job, is not constraining players and making them too conservative and, you know, not willing to try things. But yeah, some of those flick passes that he threw were just outstanding.
Big few weeks for the Chooks coming up. Got the Sharkies this week, the Melbourne Storm after that.
Yep.
Could be huge.
Yep.
I thought Billy Smith was outstanding in this. He had a bit of a poor read for the Sewell try, but even then, Sammy Walker, he still had to make his one-on-one and he missed it. But the 2 early tries, just in that sort of sweeping play, which I hadn't seen him sort of play that role too much in that sort of shape, running great line for a try. He was, you know, starting to reap the benefits of staying fit and healthy and staying on the field.
Yep.
He was excellent.
That line off Sam Walker, just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. A bit similar to Britton Nikora. Very rarely do you see a centre just go into a yawning gap like that. I just can't wait to see Billy Smith continue to develop by just playing week in, week out. Because usually most games he plays 8 out of 10, usually. And imagine what he's going to be like if he can just stay on the footy field. Just bloody good player.
Yeah, I think just the other one to touch on, I'm very intrigued to see how things play out with Sandon Smith, because they've opted to partner Sammy Walker with Hugo Savala, and I see why they've done that. Like, firstly, Savala's been outstanding this year, but it's the long kicking game. Sandon couldn't even jag a bench spot. We know he's quite versatile and can play different positions, covers a lot in that side. And
Zach Docker-Clay.
Yeah, for Zach Docker, I don't understand that, and I wonder long term, are they thinking, you know, they go down the Savala, Sammy Walker route and Sandon gets squeezed out? But if they do, I think it's a mistake. I think Sandon Smith is a gun. Whether that's I think 5'8's his position for sure, but whether that's at 9, whether he spends time between 9 and 13 or whatever, I think they need to be very careful, because I think he's a future star.
Yeah, and it's just a good bloke. He's almost a little bit like Connor Watson to a degree to having your squad, because you don't know where he's going to end up in regards to position, because he can play, you know, a bit of a utility role. But I think the problem is, I think they're just probably struggling for cap space, because he could probably get, not huge at another club, but like a good solid contract.
I would be licking my lips ready to poach him if I was a rival club, because, I said, couldn't even squeeze into 14 on the weekend.
Yeah.
I would imagine that Parramatta's got some money to play with now. I'd be going after him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I think he's a bloody good player.
Him and Mitch Moses.
That's where, like, if I'm the Roosters, I'd be trying to loan him instead of letting him go.
Yeah, good shout.
That's fair. I will say the Roosters, you know, the Dragons you can be harsh on, but then say, like, look where they are as a team. I think the Roosters have got to sort out their defence if they want to make a push this year. That's the one area where, you know, they don't necessarily have the highest completion, so they are willing to defend their errors. And I just thought this game, you know, definitely wasn't top 8 standard defence-wise. Angus Crichton I thought was really good. I do think Angus Crichton probably needs to sort out his bumper bars at times. I was shocked beyond belief. There was one time where he, like, genuinely bumper barred, I forgot who it was, twice, and it was just like no penalty or anything. I was like, geez.
Yeah, he's another one who, like, I'm stunned he backed up, and I think he played 80 minutes or near enough in this. And
yeah, he did.
Yeah, like, I don't like that either. However, the Roosters are playing for finals footy, and they need him. Like, I get that more than sort of the Storm and Harry Grant scenario.
Yeah.
That's as well, like, this is Connor Watson backing up from Origin. He played 75 minutes. They only used Zach Docker-Clay for 5 minutes. If you're not going to use him this week, what week are you going to use him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And if I'm playing the Roosters, with all due respect to Zach Docker-Clay, Sandon Smith coming on fresh scares the shit out of me.
Was it last year or the year before? We saw Sandon come on as a 14 at number 9. He turned games. It was a game against Melbourne. He came on and turned the match off his own bat.
He did the same thing against the Sharks too when he came on those
Yeah.
finals a few years ago.
Yeah. Tupou, the GOAT, once again, playing outstanding. His shot on Gutho was outstanding, forcing the error. And then the Toya catch for his try. Hasn't Toya's stock's just gone through the roof?
Oh, God.
He's just gone through. And
Start of the year, we're all going, how are they going to fill these spots in the centres?
Yeah.
And then they've just plucked one out of nowhere.
Just
Brilliant.
crazy.
And another guy, probably, he was going good before Origin, but will take so much confidence out of having been there.
Yeah.
Savala wrist injury, so he's going to miss a couple of games by the sounds of it, so Sandon's back in.
Okay. Have we already spoken about the Dragons? Yeah, we have.
Yep.
Okay, on to the Cowboys versus the Bulldogs. Okay, I watched this game really closely from a Cowboy, obviously for both teams, but I watched it really closely from a Cowboys perspective because I wanted to know, like, what is wrong with the Cowboys? And I think I might know what I feel is wrong for the Cowboys. And obviously, this is just my opinion. But I reckon that we all agree that Todd Payton is not saying play loose and having errors here or there is fine because we'll just attack our way out of anything. So I don't think that he's saying that to them, but I think his selections are subconsciously telling the boys that. And the reason why I say that is this. Drinkwater, multiple errors. Nanai, poor read in defence, which ended up being a try. Griffin Neem, another senior player, error. Laybutt comes in, 2 really poor errors. Derby comes in, multiple errors. And so, like, you've got the older generation. I know Nanai's not older, but he's a senior-ish player, making all these errors. And then these juniors are coming in. They're making errors as well. Even Purdue had some balls that hit the ground. And so I think the problem for Payton is that he might be saying to them, we need to be conservative. We need to, have a high completion rate. But his selections don't echo that sentiment because a guy, I don't know how Robert Derby is still getting selected. Like, how can you look your team in the eye and say, guys, holding the ball is one of the biggest priorities in this side, whilst continuing to select a guy that definitely needs to go back to Queensland Cup and work on that part of his game? And then a guy like Laybutt, who is a bloody good player, but that's why in the big moments that happens, because I feel like Payton is selecting players that have those big errors all the time. And some of their key players, like Griffin Neem, had multiple errors in key moments. And I think that is the concern at the Cowboys is that, you might be saying at training all day long, no errors, but you're not selecting like that. And I think that there are other clubs that you look at where I go to the Brisbane Broncos. Michael Maguire was telling them, conservative, no errors, high percentage, all that kind of stuff. And granted, on the weekend they weren't great. But he selected backing that. Jazeski made the side. Shibasaki made the side. And that's where I think the Cowboys' biggest error is that their selections are they're not driving home the point of low errors, make sure you hold the ball, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I sort of alluded to that last week with Braden Burns. Like, how he's not an automatic in this side, in my opinion, over Robert Derby is beyond me.
I can't believe, Derby's got a lot of talent. He's a lovely young kid, but I couldn't find many coaches that would have continued to select him. It is so clear to me that he needs a bit more time to work on a few things in reserve grade. And unfortunately, that's not on Derby anymore. Like, the first time Derby makes all those errors, that's on Derby. The second time, okay, on Derby to a degree. Third time, that's not on Derby. That's on Toddy Payton. Because I just can't for the life of me. It's not even good for Robert Derby's development right now. What do you reckon his confidence is like right now on Monday? Robert Derby right now?
Shot.
Absolutely shot.
They've had 13. They have the most, unsurprisingly, errors per game this year on 13.2. Knights are second, 12.9. Roosters, 12.8. Then it goes down to the Eels on 12. So pretty comfortably, the most errors in the competition.
And so that's my concern. That is my concern. And, unfortunately, he doesn't have the Wayne Bennett aura of going, all right, I'm going to select Scott Drinkwater every single week who does make errors, and he made quite a few on the weekend. But guys, that's Scott Drinkwater. He's allowed to do that. The rest of you are not allowed to do that. It seems like that's just filtering all the way through. Is that just this willy-nilly, error here, error there, damn. I can't believe it. I just genuinely can't believe it. I think some really, really tough decisions need to be made about some key players, and you might have to take a few steps back. And maybe it's easy for me to say because my job's not on the line. So Toddy Payton's in there going, I'd love to be able to take 2 steps back, but then I lose my job. But unfortunately, maybe those 2 steps back should have happened last year, and either recruiting or selecting guys that may not be as good in attack, but they're better in defence and they're safer hands. And it's easy for me to sit here and be critical. I don't have any pressure on me. You know, I don't have all the insight. I don't know these guys, so maybe I'm totally wrong. But that's my opinion on the situation. I'd love to know, Cowboys fans, am I wrong? Am I way off? What are your thoughts about what's going wrong with the Cowboys? Because it was a brave performance, but that game was there to win. Like, if there was ever a time to beat the Bulldogs, is how they played on the weekend. That game was there to win for the Cowboys.
And that's the thing, Ken, but we always use the Brisbane Broncos as the example from 2023 of, all right, you can play like some flamboyant footy and use the ball and throw it around if you're good enough defensively to defend your errors. The Cowboys are so far from that.
Oh, well, the Broncos were the second best defensive side in the comp that year. And so the Roosters are a good example. I know they're not, setting the world alight, but they've got a high amount of errors, but they usually defend relatively well. On the weekend, it wasn't great. But whereas the Cowboys, they don't have the defence to be making those errors. Unfortunately, they just don't. And so, it might sound harsh because they got so close to the Bulldogs, but I think the Bulldogs were quite poor. They honestly, the Bulldogs won that game through pure grit. Pure grit. Thoughts, Root?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I don't think Canterbury are all that impressive. And I think Todd Payton sort of said after in his press conference the other day that I think he kind of alluded to there would be changes. But, mate, if I get to Tuesday and Rob Derby's on the wing still, something's gone seriously
and Braden
wrong,
Burns gets dropped.
Mate, I know I keep harping on about it, but Braden Burns has played 6 games this year. He's had 32 tackle breaks, 3 line breaks. He's averaging 165 metres per game. He's missed 7 tackles.
Jeez.
Mate, it's so strange. And the problem for Toddy Payton is I feel like the time for changes were almost a year ago. Like, I know Derby wasn't playing then, so I'm not speaking specifically about Derby, but I just mean to send the message because unfortunately, I feel like it's too late to send a message. The season's over. So it's just like, the report came out about, everyone's on notice now. It's like, bruh, the season's over.
Yeah.
They need to be on notice 2 months ago.
Yeah. Especially when earlier in the season, huge call, dropped an eye out of the side, got a great reaction out of him.
Yeah.
I don't know why he hasn't done it with his backline though.
But then you killed yourself by dropping Clifford out of the side. You tried to pull Purdue into the halves. It didn't work out. And I know Clifford was injured this week, but like that ruined at least a month of your footy because I still can't understand why that happened, dropping Clifford out of the side. I just cannot. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. What about some good performances in the Cowboys side, boys? Who stood out for you?
I'm not talking about Braden Burns for a 4th time. What do you got?
Tom Dearden was all right. In decent form at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, we spoke about his tackle at the start of the show.
Mate.
It was just like,
Yep.
I was very excited. William Kickhouse Supercoach owner, when he took that hit, and I was like, before, I'm like, he's over, all money, and Dearden just goes, nah.
No, shot you, put you back on your just craziness.
Oh my goodness.
I thought Murray Talangi. I actually think he's been really good when he has played this year. 27 runs, 257 metres, 106 post contact, 6 tackle breaks. What I will say a positive is that you have seen a lot of hunger from Murray Talangi, and at least that's a sign that you've got some key players that are rep players that there's just hunger there. They're not resting on their laurels. They're not going, I'm one of the best players here, or like he's truly showing that he cares about the situation the club's in. I think he's been outstanding any opportunity he's got.
And the other, I know he had some really poor handling errors, but Zach Labart, a bit like Billy Smith, had such a wretched run of injuries, starting to string some games together, and he's looking good for the most part. Yeah, there's some defensive stuff to work out at times, but we've been so high on him on this podcast for a while now, but he hasn't had these games. Start to score some great tries, run some great lines. He's such a great mover of the footy. So I think a few things to sort out and round out, but I think there's good signs in Zach Labart.
I got to, I love Drinky. I think he is such an incredible attacking player. But this game on the weekend, it just all went wrong. Poor error. They lost all momentum. Then he kicks out on the full. More errors towards the end of the game. The thing that Drinky, he was named captain earlier this year, and he's just got to find a way to realise that he's not just playing his role anymore. He's a senior player. So some of these decisions he makes for these big plays, like, look, it's hard because you don't want a guy like Drinky to go into his shell. Not at all. That's what makes him great, is his ability to make something from nothing. But some of his errors, like just a drop cold ball, kicking, like it should have been 2 out in the full. Like I felt like that other ball was out in the full. As a leader, it's just filtering down too much. It's having too much of an effect on the rest of the playing group. And on the weekend, like he just had a really poor game. And unfortunately for Drinky, it's, his attack is so good that it just band-aids the other parts of his game a bit too much at the moment. And I've been guilty of it. I'll put my hand up. I'm such a fan of Drinky, but if he wants to be a leader in this side, and if you want to get paid, a big wicket, which is about 700, 800K probably that he's on, you just can't afford to have that many errors, unfortunately.
And I think Drinky, unfortunately, he personifies all of our issues with the Cowboys. And the last year's had these incredible stats, it's blown away. But it's because the Cowboys' persona is we're going to be in 30 all games. But they're scoring more tries than other sides. They're conceding more tries. And I think that Drinky, as I said, I think he personifies that. I think he sort of just waits till they get the ball back.
Yeah, and it's filtering down, unfortunately. That's the thing. Like, when he first came into grade, he was a junior. So, like, if he does, it's almost like the Reece Walsh situation. Now, Reece Walsh is getting to the point where he's a bit of a senior player. But when he initially came in, it's like, he's the young gun. When you're a senior player, like, it just, people subconsciously, as much as the coach wants to say, that's Drinkwater, he's trying things, that's why he makes those errors, it still does seep in. It's still, I made an error, it's all good. And I point to 2 of their younger players that made 2, like, multiple errors where there you go. There's an example of these 2 young guys that have come in at a key part of the game and make 2 errors that they should have made. So, yeah, listen, it's a tough call that the Cowboys face right now. The problem is you've got guys like Reece Robson, Cotter and Dearden that aren't like that. Somehow, some way, how do you lean the team more in that light rather than,
I get it. And look, maybe you do look to future recruitments around this side and almost a bit like the Titans where you go, all right, how do we shore this side up defensively? Get some players that have less mistakes in their game. And I get the sentiment around Drinky, and he does have too many errors in his game and he needs to work on that. But at the same time, I feel like if Drinky went down injured or was to leave this club, you would just rip the life out of him. About one of the few things that's going good with him at the moment, week in, week out, he busts his ass. I know his last man D's in that grade. I know there are a few issues here and there, but he's their entire spark. Him and obviously Tommy Dearden, who busts his ass every week, and they're quite different in the way they play. But I think Drinky's one who turns up each and every week and tries until the final whistle. Yes, there's rough around the edges at times, but I think you recruit around him because I think he's a superstar in attack, and you find some better defensive players and less errors.
I can't cop a player being on 800K a year and accepting that many errors. I just can't. And like even with Walshy, I said the same thing.
Yeah, he gets so many touches. Every time they use the ball, Drinky's involved in. He has to throw the last pass. He's putting kicks in behind the line. His role is as important to this side as any other fullback in the competition. Like, he gets so many touches of the ball. There's too many errors, don't get me wrong, but I just think they're going to come with the way he plays and the amount of touches he gets.
I just think they need to find a way for him to reduce that. Find a way. Because like his errors on the weekend were literally just straight drop and kicked out in the full, and the other one was out in the full. I'm definitely not saying that they need to move on from him, but I think that, there are other coaches that I'd be confident could get Drinky to that next level. And I think it's a challenge to Toddy Payton to find a way to make it work. Somehow, some way make it work, because I'm with you, Timmy, be careful what you wish for if you let him go. Because yes, he makes a lot of errors, or at least on the weekend he did, but there are other players that are just not defending at all.
I'm trying to picture a Cowboy side without Scott Drinkwater. And when I do, I go, oh, shit.
Yeah. I'm with you there. It's if you're on 800K a year, you need to be 9 out of 10 every week. Okay, on to the doggies. Obviously, the big call, I'll be honest, I was shocked that kick-out call wasn't a penalty try. Now, I know, did he absolutely take his head off? No. Look, I'm happy to put my hand up if I'm seeing incorrectly, but I felt that you could clearly see him chopping his jaw and it went through to the ball. What are your thoughts, boys?
I agree with you. I feel like it didn't get much airtime as well.
It's the Cowboys, it's like the Raiders to a degree sometimes, even the Warriors, where because they're not in, they're not a big club per se,
Even like at the time in the commentary, though, I don't think it got as much.
I think it sounds like, when I hear them speak, it sounds like they've been told not to be too negative on those calls. Because you can hear, whenever they go, McInnes, you're not feeling too, and he's like, I can't say. He says stuff like that. But I thought he chopped his jaw. I really did. And like,
it was pretty evident he did.
Yeah, and also like people go, you barely touch him. It's like, mate, you don't need much pressure on your jaw to get knocked out. Not much pressure at all. You're telling me kick out, trying to swat a ball out, hitting you in the jaw is not going to have some kind of effect on what you're doing? And look, to be fair, calls that went terribly against the Bulldogs as well. Like Scotty Drinkwater, I feel like I don't know what the touch he was looking at. Look, unless they've got a better slow-mo that's clearer, but I felt like that ball landed on the line.
I thought there was paint on it, yeah.
And so, like, there were bad calls both sides, but I did think that was a very incorrect call. But I will say, I thought the Bulldogs played really poorly, but what I think is just so good from a Bulldogs perspective, the amount of grit and heart they showed in this game, because they made so many dumb decisions, so many dumb penalties they gave away, but they just hung in there. And again, what do you win premierships on? It's on defence. And so even when they're playing poorly, they managed to squeeze through a win. That's what's really important. And so I thought they were dumb, but they were super brave.
What's our read on Galvin moving forward? Obviously left out of the side here. And to be honest with you, when they made that decision, I thought, okay, now we'll start to see the Bulldogs that we knew in the first 8 weeks or so. So I was pretty disappointed with their performance. Where do we see him fitting in now?
Strange. Look, I commend Serraldo for having the guts to make the call instead of just like sitting somewhere in the middle. Look, to be fair, you could say because they had a bigger bench, they were managed to hang in there because it was all about defence. Or you could say the flip opposite of it. You know, Galvin could have come on and changed the game. So it depends how you look at it. This is coming from someone that was okay with the mid-season signing. I am getting to the point where it is becoming an issue. It just is. Like, I think that him sitting in reserve grade is weird, but also having him and Hayward on the bench is also weird. It's a tough spot to be in. I don't know what the right answer is. I seriously don't.
Because like the tough thing is as well, because they dragged him up to North Queensland, like he didn't even play New South Wales Cup. It's not like he went back there with a list of things to work on. Or
see, I don't know if they'll play him New South Wales Cup, because I reckon when Galvin signed, they were like, we're not coming here to play New South Wales Cup. You know, like I think that would have been something that they would have spoken pretty. You know,
but like, I mean, yeah, like Jamin Salmon came back into the side. I think he has to be picked every single week. Kurt Mann wasn't in this team either, so it's not only Galvin that need to fit back in somewhere. It's Kurt Mann as well.
Oh, mate, I'm with you. It's a problem. It's a headache. It's a massive headache. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, I'm so sick of talking about Lachie Galvin.
Oh, same.
Honestly, I'm so over it. But I don't know. I thought Serraldo justified it well. He said, I was going up to Townsville, tight conditions up there. Said he saw what it did to the Storm and Cows the week before, and there are people going down with cramps, and he goes, I want a 4-forward bench. The Doggies have that many utility players in their side that they can cover spots in the back line quite easily. So I think it made sense.
Yeah, I don't really buy that whole there's people getting cramps up North Queensland. I think you pick your best side. You know, very rarely do you week in, week out pick sides on weather or go on to Cowboys or go on to Warriors. Like, I think I think they got a problem on their hands.
So do you think he'll be back on the bench this week then?
Yes.
So, and Hayward as well. So it'll be Hayward, Galvin, 2 forwards?
Probably, yeah.
And do you like that?
No, I said last week when we spoke about it that I'd make one call. I'd either drop Sexton, start Galvin, or I'd put Galvin on the bench and find a different way to utilise him and not change your spine every time he comes on.
Yeah, I think that has to happen too. Has to happen. Rip the Band-Aid off. The problem is, anyway, it's definitely become a problem. Okay, now in regards to the game, I got to say, I thought Marnie was outstanding.
I loved his quote after the game. He got interviewed and he said, saving a try is just as good as scoring one. And it's an old NRL cliche, rugby league cliche, but that's the Bulldogs mantra, right? And you see this team buy into that. You don't just say that post-game and say, that's what we should be doing, Like, you see every single player that pulls on this Doggies jersey, they buy into their scramble defence. When there's a bust, blokes getting across, putting in these effort areas to save a try, because there are teams that we know fall in love with scoring points. We just spoke about the North Queensland Cowboys. The Doggies, it's the opposite. They go, no, like, defence is just as important.
Yeah. And what I love is, like, when they've, even against the Panthers, where that second half they just got a bit too ahead of themselves. I feel like they learned a little bit from that, where they didn't, although their attack was not humming at all in this game, they didn't really panic. They trusted their defence to get the job done. And so they're really one of the rare teams that can win games in this version of rugby league, 12-8, 12-6, or be in a game and lose 8-6. You don't see those scorelines anymore, which is a good thing. So I'm excited to see them with Critter back in the side. And as you know, the hardest thing in rugby league is defence, and they've got that down pat, essentially. And so that's a really good sign for the club that they, in attack, like they were so bad in attack, so bad.
Yeah.
And they still somehow managed to defend one of the better attacking sides in the competition. Granted, I know the Cowboys dropped a bunch of ball, but they still managed to get the job done. I thought Marnie, we spoke about it earlier in the defence play of the week, but that tackle on Griffin Neame, like just all ticker, all heart. I think the Cowboys are probably watching Marnie's play and go, you know, we could use a bit of that.
Oh, yeah.
We could use a bit of that. So they'll be excited to have him there. It really was that last 15 minutes. I feel like that's the defence that won in the game. They were so brave, so gutsy. Cowboys were throwing everything at them, and they would just find a way to turn up for each other each set.
And that's it, mate. Like, it's such a good contrast of Doggies versus Cowboys in the game, the way this game panned out, because Doggies didn't have their best game. They made mistakes, but they were able to lean on their defence and turn the game, and it held up.
Yep. Oh, I forgot to say on the Cowboys thing, Cotter on an edge. That's interesting for the Cowboys. That's super interesting. I wonder.
Taking some inspo from Billy.
Yeah. He's too good to have on the edge clubland, but was
Jeez, I felt sorry for those. And I understand seasons on the line, they had to do it. But those Cowboys boys that they all played big minutes in Origin. They flew back to North Queensland. The Cowboys had 3 guys on the bench that played less than 20 minutes in that game. Those boys just went the whole 80, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And Dearden's martin up against fucking Kickow.
Mental. That try, I forgot who it was, who scored it, but there was a try where Sexton, Burton and Hayward were phenomenal. Like, they just orchestrated the whole thing. I'll get the actual try up when it happened. But
yeah, it was the debutante's try.
Debutante's try? Yeah, it just was like poetry in motion. Like, it was seriously so good to watch. And I guess that's the tough question that the Bulldogs face, is that although they were really poor in attack, there were moments where you saw the Sexton, Burton, Hayward combination just come together really well. And so, yeah, it's just a brave win, really. That's the only way to measure it. Brave win, didn't play really well, but they got the job done. In regards to people that play well, I thought Kiraz was really good again. He's just getting to the point where you kind of expect him to be a bit of a tier above his opposition. I thought outside of that, I think it was an early error from Connor Tracy, but outside of that, geez, he worked his absolute backside off. Like, he worked his backside off. I know he had a couple errors here or there, but what I like about Tracy is, and he's developed into this, like, doesn't drop his head anymore, just keeps working really hard for the team. Super, super important.
Well, the other one did well too, and, you know, he'll be a depth signing, and, you know, he'll come in when there's a few injuries, but Tawala came in and did really well. A guy that's been a journeyman, like, he's played 100 first-grade games, coming in and do a job for you. Like, most teams, when they have an outside back injury, they're turning to someone that's, you know, inexperienced and whatnot. If Tawala's your, you know, 5th, 6th choice outside back, your squad's looking great.
He's such a good bloke to plug in, isn't he?
177 metres, a line break, a try assist, 3 tackle breaks. Like, fuck, he could just do so much worse.
Covers centre or wing, covers both edges. He's such a reliable plug in there, isn't he?
Yeah, great buy. Harry Hayes, once again, doing what he does. Jacob Preston, I think he had an error or two. There was one that was just unforced, but outside of that, like, just, you know, you can see him just taking those little steps towards that next level. Going to be interesting to see what happens in the Origin arena. I thought Curran off the bench showed a bunch of it. He gave one dumb penalty away, but outside of that, I just thought his energy was exactly what they needed in defence. Like, he came on and you could really feel the Bulldogs just galvanise around him. No pun intended. He's become like a real heart player of that roster because this is the energy he brings off the bench.
Yeah, I think, you know, if they do win a comp over the next few years, like you could almost put a top 10 signings that are going to lead to a premiership for them. I think he's going to be a really underrated one, Josh Curran.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I can imagine in a grand final him having this like heroic 60-minute performance where he makes 50 tackles and gets through all this work. He really is the heart and soul of the side. So, look, did the Doggies play well? No. Did their heart fucking bigger than anything? Absolutely. We already spoken about Jethro Rinakama, guys, in the Kayo Can't Miss. He was outstanding. I am just so interested to see this side once they get like a Leo Thompson in, all those guys coming next year. We'll say Bronson Xerri, a little bit quiet over the last few weeks. He had such a good start to the year. For most of the year, really. It's just been the last couple of weeks, I feel like he's been a little bit quiet.
Did they swap sides with him this week?
Yeah, so I'm trying to picture where he was this week, but I know last week they shifted him sides because defensively for the first time, basically since he's been back in the NRL, he was quite poor and he missed a couple of tackles. He did shift sides.
He was on the right this week.
Yeah. And
So
he's been playing left. So it was with
So it was the
Critter out.
Broncos. Yeah, it was the Broncos he was on the right as well.
Yeah.
And he had some measures,
So
yeah.
he moved because of Critter. So he'll go back to the left where he looked uncomfortable on the right. put it that way.
Super.
Yeah.
And he's been a bit quiet lately, and you're right, like I'm just remembering some of the reads against the Broncos. He just looked out of okay, yeah. I don't even know why I didn't pick that up.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense then. Because on the left, their whole game plan was around Bronson Xerri. It was literally get up that field, throw him the ball. If he doesn't score, we get a set in their corner and we jam up.
Yeah. Back to norm this week.
Yeah, so just such an interesting watch, the Doggies. Like, I know we're definitely all sick of the Galvin discussion, but I'm interested just from a perspective of, if I'm being honest, round 10, I'm sitting here going premiership threat. Round 19, I'm going, okay, I'm getting I'm not as confident with that anymore. Like, I still have them there. They play finals footy. I think they will win finals games. I want to see them with all their origin stars back in it, and just that run home. What kind of form are they in run home? And so I've still got them as a premiership threat just because of the style of rugby league they play. They play a fast style, get across the ground, a lot of scramble. They're willing to go in and win a game 8-6 is what you need. They've got great defence. But there's just been a little bit of wobbles, I think. A little bit of wobbles at the end here.
Tough run home. They've only got 3 games against teams outside the top 8, and one of them's 9th. So, they got a pretty hard run home. So, be good kind of battle-heartedness getting them ready for finals. Yeah. But if they keep playing how they have been, they might drop a few games.
Sunday, 3rd of August, the Lockie Galvin Cup.
Galvin Bowl. Yeah, he'll be in the
bloody give it to him, mate.
In the reserve grade team. So.
Ooh.
Hopefully the Magpies can get the job done.
What do you reckon, boys? Do you feel the same? There's still a premiership threat, but a bit of the wobbles lately?
Yeah, I'm hesitant about whether they can win a comp this year with how it's all going. Because as we keep saying, I don't know if they're on grand final day, who's going to be their halfback. I have no idea at the moment. And we're running out of weeks to get it sorted.
I do see wobbles for sure, but I will cut a bit of slack that they led the comp going into the Origin period and they end up missing a lot to Origin. So they get the full side back. Let's see if they can return to the form that they had before it.
And Critter, we have to remember, he is the heart of it. Like, he's their captain. He's literally changed their club from where they were to now. Like, that's why I'm keen to see him back there, because you cannot underestimate the power of having Critter on the field. It's similar to having, Darren Lockyer on the field or like other players like that. It's just that intangible leadership that they bring. So we'll see.
They're still equal second favourite, $6. The Storm are $2.70. The Raiders also $6. So
okay,
yeah, I'd have the Raiders more of a premiership threat than the Dogs
now
at the moment.
They surely all feel better about the Raiders than Canterbury at the moment, don't we?
I think so right now. However, I want to see him with Critter back in the side.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in that. Yeah, full strength. Guys, just finished my my Good Day. Go to begoodhealth.com.au. Grab your Good Day. Literally just finished it. Make sure I got my multivitamins, and super, super easy to use. So today I was in a rush, had to get the little one ready, then had to fly out the door, and so I didn't have time to drink it. So what I did, put the sachet in my pocket, got to here, as soon as I got here, put it in water, shake it up, boom, ready to go. All the multivitamins that you need, go to bighealth.com.au. Use code DMP for 10% off, and then you can pair that with subscription, give you 20% off. All right, let's get to the next game. And I will say just quietly, so we've put up our little snippet. And what do you know? The first comment, the most liked, it is a comment about my shirt. So you guys, you're the losers, not me.
Was it a positive comment about the shirt?
Yeah, it was a positive. It was from Hectic Fred.
Was it?
The great Hectic Fred,
Big World of Warcraft fan.
Big, he must be. What's wrong with that, mate? You talking
nothing.
down at World of Warcraft? Mate, don't get the nerds on that. If you think you had problems with fucking doxing and shit and getting your information, the nerds, they'll end your life, mate.
Yeah, should I tell you that? I've been hurt enough.
Okay, let's get to the next game. The Warriors v. the Tigers, brought to you by Bloke Undies. Go to bloke.shop, grab your Bloke Undies, the best undies in all the land, guys. Premium undies, you will not be disappointed. Got a money-back guarantee as well, so make sure, give them a try. You won't be disappointed. If you don't like them, let us know and we'll sort you out. Warriors defeat the Tigers 34-14. And I think the biggest takeaway from this game, it was Tanner Boyd. It was what I was so excited about for this game. Obviously, I'm not excited that Luke Metcalf's not there because he's one of the most exciting players in the NRL. And he's also one of the best blokes. Anyone you speak to says he's such a good young fella. But I was really interested to see what the Warriors would look like with a conservative 7 that just got around the park and kept things real simple. And they look pretty bloody good. I get it. It's against the Tigers. No offense. I thought the Tigers turned up to play for most of this game. Now, I want to see this Warriors version against, maybe a top 8 side. But I thought this was one of their most comfortable, convincing wins. I think that for most of the game, they looked like they were in control. And I'm really interested to see how all these combinations build.
I thought Tanner was unreal. I thought he just came in and played his role. Sort of my podcast last night, like, are they more dangerous with Luke Metcalf? Yeah, sure. But Tanner's got a skill set you can build around, and you can build a good team around. The New South Wales Cup, they won their 12th game in a row yesterday with Jet Cleary in at halfback. They won their first 11 with Tanner Boyd. Mate, I think he's been managed very poorly on the Gold Coast for a long time, in no shock to anyone.
Don't judge his form. Don't judge any player's form on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, I genuinely, I think you look more into what he's done in New South Wales Cup for the Warriors than what he did for the Titans. Personally, like, he's in a good system. He's playing the role he needs to. You saw what he did yesterday. The way, I think there's a world can be where they might not be better with Tanner Boyd, but I think they'll have more structure, and that might actually suit them more come the back end of the season.
As I said, I've always been really intrigued to see them with a conservative 7 that has a good kicking game, because you saw it in the first 10 minutes. Like, the length of his kicks were substantially longer than they used to. Now, granted, they're still missing. Obviously, Barnett's gone. I would have loved to see him in a full strength Warriors side, but mate, I thought it was their most controlled. A lot of their wins, they have these like seesawing affairs where they might win by 12 or 13 plus or whatever, but it's just like crazy seesawing affair. This was a quite controlled, strong win. What do you reckon, Timmy?
Yeah, I don't know if Webby, if it was a tough decision for him around Boyd or Tamari Martin to replace Luke Metcalf, but two quite different players. Tamari brings that polish and that flair in attack. Boyd more of a controlled, organising halfback. But as you said, to bring that long kicking game, what a difference that'll make for the Warriors was enormous. And to kick it off, Tanner Boyd, he was fantastic in his first game of the year. And what a huge decision, because, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's a premiership quality side, the Warriors, I think they are at least part of the way in a premiership window on what we've seen from them this year, and the way the rest of the competition is going as well. So the choice of the halfback this week to go with Boyd over Tamare, it could have huge repercussions on the potential premiership for the Warriors. And as I said, he was great on the weekend. And as you said, Roo, he's not necessarily as much of an attacking threat than Luke Metcalf. He's a very different player. But we saw Chanel Harris-Tavita. He went to another level on the weekend. And Harris-Tavita, who, because Metcalf's got all the headlines this season, he's just quietly done his job and chipped away. He's been fantastic for him, and he lit up on the weekend. I think he scored a couple of tries in it. And
try assist.
He's one of the better defensive halves in the competition as well. So, maybe CHC Harris-Tavita has a bigger role in attack now that he's partnering Tanner Boyd.
Yeah. I will say, I felt like they looked far more composed in good ball with Tanner at 7.
Yep.
They looked far more, because there was actually some tries they left on the park, in my opinion. I thought there were a few more opportunities to score, and I just think that all their timing is quite good with Tanner there at 7. So, going to be super interesting. I've always, although Metcalf has been great, I've always felt he leans more to a 6 than a 7. Now, granted, we've seen guys like Hughes, Katoa starting to run the ball now, so maybe he's the modern 7. But you always wonder, what do most great premiership winning sides have? They've got depth in key positions, and right now the Warriors are stacked in the halves, stacked. To be able to say, we're going to bring Tamare Martin off the bench and not put him straight in there, shows the confidence that he has in a guy like Tanner.
Yeah, and the guys in reserve grade, obviously, Jet came in yesterday, apparently played really well and was handling his own there. Luke Hanson, who's the 5'8" there as well, they reckon he's doing great things. So they're finding themselves in a very, very good spot, the New Zealand Warriors. Just on Tanner Boyd as well. I think I've told this story before, and I can't remember where I heard this. Maybe Sowie told me or something. But Graham Arnold was a few years ago was asked, when you watch rugby league, who strikes the ball best, and he picked Tanner Boyd out of everyone.
Wow, jeez. I mean, he was. That's the thing. And I hate to put the boot into the Titans. Sorry, guys. I apologise. But mate, he came out of school as the Australian 7.
Yep.
He was turned into a 14. Then he was like, nah, he's definitely our 9. And then there was a couple of years of that. And then it was like, no, he's not our 9 anymore. We're going to try him at 7. Then it was like, oh, no, he's not our 7. We're going to release him early. Like he has not been given an opportunity to just stay in one position for longer than 12 months at the Titans.
When he came out of high school, his right edge back row at high school was Dave Fafita. His right edge back row for Queensland was Dave Fafita.
Yeah.
His right edge back row for Australian schoolboys was Dave Fafita.
Jesus.
And I think they paired those two up together on a handful of occasions.
Jesus.
It was. We'll get to the Titans soon, but it was a classic example of just just butchering a halfback's development. It was just ridiculous.
He's 24. Like this is crazy.
Yeah.
He's 24 years old. In a year where you are desperate for 7s at the Titans, you let him go.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry. Apologies. Back to the Warriors. Mate, they had 10 line breaks to 3. Like, this was a dominant win from the Warriors. And as I said, it's one of the most composed wins I've seen them play. And I understand you can sit there and go, oh, they were playing the Tigers, but I actually thought for a lot of this game the Tigers fought as hard as they could. But yeah, just a really good win from the Warriors. Now, just quickly on the Tigers. It's just... they hung in there, they really did, but some of those errors towards the end there, like Jack Bird, he threw a silly pass, I think. Then he dropped the ball.
Yeah, not a great 5-minute passage there.
Yeah, it would really... And then...
We're not known for our 5-minute
Look, I think they actually look better with Dewey at 13, which is... I'm getting a little bit concerned by the fact that at least recently, they've looked better with Dewey in a key position, even though Luai's on the field. It's getting a little bit... I feel like Luai kind of needs to make a call of, am I the man or am I not the man?
I reckon this will be an unpopular opinion, and I'm really keen to get Hammy's thoughts in particular, but I think I'm the only one that thinks Adam Dewey's a 5'8". I think he's got a big, strong running game. He's a really good defender. He's got an outstanding long kicking game as well. You pair him up with... a good organising halfback so that, you don't want to fall into the mould of having to get the team around the park at all. He's like primarily an attacker, plays second receiver, swings both sides. I just think he's a ripper, and I think he's a 5'8". He's had a lot of injuries in recent years. Not to say he can't be a centre, and I will say at the Tigers, it is Luai and it is Fainu, and that's fine. So whether or not long-term he stays at the Tigers or how they go about it, I think he's in his right spot at the Tigers, but I think he's a 5'8".
I'd agree. I think he's a 5'8" as well. But I do also am with you that Fainu and Luai are the combo that they're going to go with. Heard Blocker kind of saying it on commentary yesterday, like he's been given a bit of a roaming license, a bit like, like Turbo and Origin. Like, unfortunately, we're just not a good enough team to be able to kind of like facilitate that sort of thing all the time. You know what I mean? Like a roaming kind of...
I will just say, just on quickly on that, like, we've seen this before with Dewey. He gives you this hope as a 6, and he's played there for quite a long time. I think he helps when he goes to 13, but I feel like he's having his best season in an extremely long time, and it's at centre.
It's because he stayed fit.
He's had years where he stayed fit before.
He hasn't played over 11. This is the first time he's played over 11 games since 2021. It's a long time.
I don't know. I actually think he's a really good centre, and I actually wouldn't mind seeing him at 13. I've seen this with Dewey before, where he shows this like these games of like energy and brilliance and look, what I will say, I'm happy to go, has he grown into a 5'8"? Then I'm incorrect, potentially, for sure. But I've seen this before with Dewey. I mean, there was a period there where they were going to build their club around him at 6, and it didn't seem to work out. Just quick, we'll stay just on that topic, and then I'll get back to Hammy. What do you think?
Me and Tim have been fighting about this for what feels like a half decade now. I've always been he's not a 5'8". I do think the last month or so I've sort of been starting to lean back a little bit.
Yeah.
But I do also agree with you.
We've seen it before.
We've seen it, previous times where people lose their mind about him. What I will say is I think that his game is becoming more rounded. What used to annoy me about him as 5'8" was everything was premeditated. It was fire that long cutout ball. I don't know if it's on or not, but fuck it, we'll see what happens. I feel like now his game is becoming more rounded. And, he's 26 years old. He's getting older. He's maturing as a footballer. So
that's fair. I'd be willing to put my hand up. If the case is that he's gotten better and now he's a 5'8", I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Also, go to 2021, played 20 games, and that was a season where he played the majority at 5'8". There was about 5 or 6 or 7 games at centre. And I know stats aren't everything. 17 try assists and 9 line breaks in that season. He scored 9 tries as well. That was a season playing 5'8". We've got to remember, and I know when you're playing the halves, you're accountable for a lot of this and results, but this is a side that's had some really, really poor results, and he's had to play 5'8". If he was playing a 5'8", any other club in recent years, he could have been killing it there.
But I think he's been unbelievable at centre. I think he's been one of your best.
Footballer.
Yeah, I feel like centre suits him. He's got really soft hands. He can chime in when he wants to. I don't know. I personally like him at centre, and I just think for the Tigers, it's you're not going to play him over Luai.
No, you're not. The Tigers aren't going to play him over those two because that's what they're building towards their future. But yeah,
I will say he was outstanding yesterday.
He was great.
So good.
He was so good. He did get a bit of a license, so he probably changed it up a little bit. He wasn't at centre the whole time. I'd say they probably moved him into the middle to get him his hands on the ball a little bit more. Do you think they can kind of sustain that kind of? Because that feels to me like it probably gets a bit cluttered. And you were speaking before about nice defined roles for teams like the Sharks. If you're halfway through each game, you're moving him to 13 to then just get his hands on the footy a bit more with Latu and Luai. Does that get a bit messy?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I just think though, Luai is in this really weird spot. He's got this rookie half 7. He's been so used to him and Galvin. We said this when it happened. Ironically enough, they suit each other perfectly. They really do. Because Galvin is so much about him, and Luai he loves to lay the foundation for his halves partner. We've seen that for so many years with Cleary. But I do look at Luai and I feel like he's stuck between two worlds. Am I the superstar 6 that needs to get us points and make stuff for us, or am I laying a platform for my other half to be great? And sometimes he's in and out of games for that period. Whereas I think right now, although Latu Fainu is a bloody good talent, in the future he's going to be great. I feel like right now you need Luai just to dominate proceedings, just to be at his best. Because when he's in between, as I said, he kind of just a bit clunky at times.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think you're right. Probably just needs to, make the call whether he gets the hands on the footy a bit more or sits back and let Latu do it. But yeah, he's probably got to take a bit more charge because Latu definitely some potential there, but he's really only got 3 or 4 full 80-minute games in the half starting under his belt.
How many touches did Luai and Fainu have compared to each other? I'd be really interested to see that because I just remember a game a few weeks ago after Galvin had left, and Luai he was in everything. All his short kicking game was unstoppable. And I probably think if you're going to make it a dent as the $1.2 million signing, it's probably got to be you as the main man.
What do you reckon their receipts were, sir?
Luai just a little bit more?
Yeah, Luai 53, Latu 41.
See, I'd probably...
Dewey 31, not crazy far behind.
Yeah. See, I'd probably want Luai substantially more than Latu at this stage of his career. Unless Latu's got the hot hand, obviously.
I think so.
But I'd probably want Luai with the ball.
We've seen him, Jerome, plays at a relatively dominant 7. I know it was only a one-off tournament for Samoa, and we've seen him do it at times for Penrith as well, and he's been really good. But I think you're right, Campy. Don't mix it in between. Just say you're the 7. It's your team. Let him be dominant.
Yeah, I think so. Because as I said, I don't think Latu is ready just to be yes, you can put him in the 7 jersey because he's played there, whatever. But is he ready to put the team on his back?
And at least Tigers aren't going to play finals. Do a bit of a Parramatta Eels, experiment and work out the best fit for this team at the back end of the season so that you can go in with a very clear plan round 1 next year. All right, who's the dominant 7, who's the 6, and just know what you're doing so that you're not chopping and changing.
I think so, because at times they just looked a little bit lost out there. And that's what makes Dewey stand out so much is he's anything but lost. When he wants the ball, he gets it and he does what he wants to do.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, that it's a bit clunky when you move him out of centre and just sort of throw him in the middle, but fuck, if it works, it works. Not much has worked over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. I guess the problem is it didn't work on the weekend. They got dominated. But it is against the
But
Warriors.
without Dewey on the field,
Yeah,
like
they got
he
obliterated.
was the only thing that kept them with a pulse.
There was a game, Tigers game a couple of weeks ago as well, where he did the same. He sort of roamed and came in a bit, and he was your only sort of major impact. I can't remember.
It was a Manly game where I think someone got injured and he came in, ended up playing.
Yeah, and he came
67.
on and he was really good. About your only major threat.
Yep.
Yeah. The problem is he's just not going to move Latu. You're not going to move Dewey. So it's like, how do you do it? In regards to performances, I will say, he's working his absolute backside off. He looked a little bit tired, Terrell, this game.
It was the first time he has subbed off in the first half this year.
Yeah, and I just think, mate, that this guy's season has been so hectic. He has done so much work. He still played 63 minutes. Just forget, that's massive for a front rower. But I think it's probably starting to catch up into a little bit. You can't sustain that for the whole season. It's inhuman.
How about this for a stat? So he's the third most for runs this season, which is no surprise to anyone. He's only 5 runs off Connor Tracy, who's first, and 3 off Teddy, who's second.
Bro.
Get this. He also has the most decoy runs this year. How hectic's that?
That's crazy. And that's a part of his game he doesn't even get recognised.
Yeah.
And so it's inhuman. And so this is the why, you've got guys like Haas that could do this, but it's like eventually it catches up to you. So you just got to be smart. And so I just think they've got to try to. I know the thing is with Terrell, I guarantee you, he's like, I can do it. Because that's what makes him such a great player. But I reckon if you're the Tigers, you just got to find a way. Especially the last thing you want is him picking up injuries at the back end of the year. Yeah. Because people go, it's a soft tissue injury, it'll be good in 2 or 3 weeks. But you don't want any soft tissue injuries because it increases the likelihood of having it again. They're in rehab.
With what he's done this year and the position they're in, just wind it down to 60 for the rest of the year. Give him a decent spell.
Agreed. Totally agreed. Because what's crazy is, he played 63 minutes, still ran for 137 metres, 57 post contact, 3 tackle breaks, 35 tackles, only 1 miss, no errors.
I think you could tell yesterday, though, that he was even just starting to lack a little bit of punch, though.
For sure, which is understandable.
He should be. He's put his body through so much.
Yeah. Look, I'm a fan favourite of this guy, but I thought Bolle probably had his worst game all year. I thought he was just some. Maybe he's feeling tired too with how much work that forward pack has had to do to try and get them into games. But yeah, unfortunately, he just made some crucial errors.
Yeah, especially when you're playing just 2 20-minute stints, and he set a high bar for himself this year for Noah Bolle.
Mate, he's been great.
It was a disappointing game from him.
Toa had one of his not so good games. Just a few of them just really let the team down just with some of those performances. I'm trying to think of how the game all kind of unfolded.
It's crazy too because they scored the first try in the opening, 2 minutes or
something?
Yeah,
stripped him straight
play
away.
too.
Yeah, yep, stripped him straight away.
That was good. I thought Taruva had a pretty good game. Not out. Didn't completely shoot the lights out, but I haven't minded him since he's gone to fullback. Obviously, prefer Buller there, but I think he kind of pops up here and there, and he was handy enough.
Yeah, I think when I think about it now, I'm like, it looked a little bit like a team that had a huge game the week before. Like all across the board, just a little bit flat at times. Come out really firing for that first 10 or whatever, and then just a little bit flat for the rest of the game.
Especially coming off a high like that, going over to New Zealand as well.
Off a bye as well, pretty sure. The New Zealand Warriors were off a bye.
Yeah, I think the Wires as well, mate. They came out in this game. They had something to prove. With Tanner coming in, everyone doubting them.
Yeah. Yep. People saying they're going to drop out of the 4. All right, we'll go through the Warriors. Mate, when you talk about depth, the fact that they can bring Tuapiki in and he comes and plays like he is, and then Roger Tuivasa-Sheck has the game he has, their depth is seriously impressive. So much so that if Tuapiki keeps playing like this, he'll put pressure on Chance. He really will. I thought Tuapiki was phenomenal. 11 tackle breaks. Fit as anything, brave as anything. There was one time where I think he hurt his hand, but he just he was in the tackle, and I always watch fullbacks when they make a relatively try-saving tackle. How do they react to that moment? And the lower tier ones, they get up, they jog, they pat themselves on the back. Oh, I did my job, and they're not even thinking about the next play. Whereas guys like Dylan Edwards, Pappenhausen, Tedesco, they're immediately up on their bike. And what I like from Tuapiki, he got straight up. He went across to the right corner. They got tackled. They went across to the other corner. I think they put a grubber through, and he got to that as well, and he hurt his hand. Just efforts like that. I'm really interested to see, what the Warriors look like in the future with Tuapiki. Is it next year that he finds that jersey? Is it the year after? Because, mate, he's a special player.
I'll tell you what, too. Tough little prick. Over the last few weeks, he copped that shot from Jarrell Skelton in this game, mate. He copped a bigger shot
In
2
reserve
weeks
grade.
ago in
Oh,
Cup.
my
It was
God.
insane. It was a high shot, to be fair, in Cup. But genuinely, 2 of the biggest hits I've ever seen he's worn in the last month. Wild.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of Keanu Kinney about him, Tane Tuapiki, and like.
Except he's playing.
You beat me to it. He's small. He's listed on the NRL website as 83 kilos. It's probably not far off it. Keep it that way because he plays above his weight. It doesn't worry him, and he is a pinball. He was so good in this game. Ran for over 200 metres. Kinney is almost in a level of his own, class of his own when it comes to meter reading for a small bloke. It's ridiculous. But Tuapiki, he's not that far off it. And yeah, I was thinking, keep him small. You keep his speed. You keep his tackle busting ability. He was brilliant coming in.
Yeah. And it's just again, the depth these guys have at the Warriors, and it's only going to get better and better and better with how they're going in reserve grade. 12 in a row. There were little moments, I thought, before half-time, they had an opportunity to really turn the screws on the Tigers, but they made an error. And also, the miss Egan and Jackson had for a try.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's on Dewey.
It's on Dewey, and it was just honestly nightmare fuel. If you're Egan and Ford, you are looking at that going, we are about to get absolutely our rings torn apart when it comes to video session. Because you just, if they make that tackle, it's a 30, 34-8 win. That's probably about how dominant they were. And so just one little, I felt it was 2 minutes. 5 minutes before half time, they had these Tigers were on the ropes and they were just turning the screws, and they let it go. And then just that little moment there, all of a sudden it's 34-8, and it's a huge victory. It looks totally different when you look at it compared to 34-14. I thought the try, Dallin Watene-Zelezniak off the scrum, Tanner Boyd come out like that. Skelton just needed to follow his centre in, unfortunately.
He slipped over too, didn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Just, look, I have a tendency not to be too harsh on wingers because I know how hard that call is. I know you get paid to do it as a winger, so you got to make it. But yeah, he did need to follow his winger in there. Now you could make the argument they could have slid and lost quite a bit of meters. But if he does follow Dewey in there, I think it was Dewey, wasn't it? Was it Dewey on that edge?
Yes.
On the left edge?
Yep.
Yes, it was because he scored. If he does follow him in there, that he would have made the tackle. We'll say it was actually the best thing that happened to Tanner getting bumped by Dewey at the start of the game because from that point on his defence was outstanding. And that was a really poor miss. He went high instead of trying to chop him low. Yeah, 2 of Dewey's tries were just him just barnstorming over.
Yeah.
In regards to performances, look, I know I think he had an error in this game, but Jackson Ford. Actually, no, he didn't. The Tigers didn't get it, I think, on the video replay.
Yeah.
But Jackson Ford, what I love about Jackson Ford's story is that he goes there as a Dragons don't want him for whatever reason. He hits the ground running as an edge back rower, and you're going, mate, this kid is everything. Then all of a sudden he hits this massive, hits the brakes, form just drops off a cliff, and it's looking like, okay, maybe this was just a little blip on the radar. This guy's, a fringe first grader, not a first grader. And then Webster goes, okay, you know what, I've seen where I think I need to work this guy out. I'm going to bring him into the middle, and I'm going to have him as part of my front row rotation. Brings him into the middle, and I'm telling you, this club would be on its knees right now if they didn't have Jackson Ford in the middle because of obviously the injury to Fisher Harris and then the injury to Barnett. I reckon if Ford's not in the middle, they'd be lucky to be in the 8. And I'm honestly not exaggerating. Think about those 2 periods if he wasn't there. How they would have got through that. He's been enormous for them, and it hasn't come easy. So I just wanted to give him his flowers. We always talk about Barnett and Fish, and rightly so. They are the cream of the crop. But I tell you what, Ford's he has been the glue when they've needed it at times.
The other one too, Rocco Berry got injured in this game. Leo Tower actually made his return in New South Wales Cup. So wouldn't be surprised if we see him back in the side.
Bro, I totally forgot about that guy. Speaking of young guns, Leka Halasima. Is he serious or what?
Yeah, freak.
Like,
Isn't he just like, if he gets the football and there isn't 6 jerseys in the TV frame, you go, fuck.
like they put him out on the wing and he goes, okay, I got a one-on-one. He great footwork. He didn't fend the guy like that. He fended him like that, like pulled his head by the back of his neck and went like that. Like, you know how strong you've got to be? That's like the weakest part of your body like that.
Like a windscreen wiper just pushing a bug off the screen.
Bro, Jesus, like the footwork.
Like that?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Thanks.
It's niche as shit, but it wasn't.
Well, Kempy's doing that. It's a windscreen wiper.
Oh, fucking hell. Jesus Christ.
People not watching on YouTube like, what is
Going on?
Yeah.
Apologies for people listening on the audio. But go back and watch the try. But yeah, Leka Halasima, like, what I loved about that last bit is you see it often when he's taking a hit up and he'll like skittle the first defender because there's so many, as you said, Ruth, there's so many defenders around him. He gets tackled or whatever. Mate, you give this guy 2 metres space, he's going to score a try.
Yeah.
Like, the best wingers in the comp might not have scored that try. Like, that was a front row on the wing that also can run like a winger. Just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
I loved, we've already given him a rap in this game, but that try that he scored, Chanel Harris-Tavita, where he ran off Aaron Clark, where you had dummy half jump out, fade one way, go the other way, and then Aaron Clark just hit that ball perfectly. It's just, I thought that try just summed up a well-coached side.
Oh, absolutely. Aaron Clark, Dally M13 of the year. He's mine.
Who's going to get it over?
Right up there.
He's mine for me.
Probably.
Mate, he has been, so, like, any time I've been in a team of the week and I've been like, 13's a bit quiet, I just go straight to the Warriors and go, look at that. He's run for another 150 metres. He hasn't missed a tackle. Aaron Clark has been, he hasn't necessarily been the signing of the year, but in saying that, if he does win the Dally M13, maybe he is the signing of the year, and I'll tell you why. Going from the Titans bench, where you couldn't get a starting role, to the Dally M13 of the year, the price they would have got him for, the improvement that he's made, you could make the argument he's been, at the very, very, very least, one of the signings of the year.
Without putting the boot into them too hard, if you go back a couple of years ago, Tanner Boyd was at the Gold Coast Titans not being used. Aaron Clark was there playing fucking hooker. And Tane Topicki was playing for Burleigh. It's pretty much that in... It's 3/5 of that spine for the Warriors.
Oh, yeah.
It's nice to have someone sort of take over the slack from the Tigers of
getting the boot
letting
in.
everyone go. I saw that the first article about the 17 that the Titans let go the other day. That's usually our article.
It's actually like
nature healing.
Yeah, you've got Hughes. I won't hold Hughes against him too much because he went to the Storm. But you got Tanner Boyd,
King.
Fogarty, Sexton, at the Bulldogs now. King.
Yeah.
He played Origin eventually. Anyway, but yeah, back to Aaron Clark, mate. He has just been so consistent. You know what? A little bit similar to Jackson Ford, where when they lost guys like Fish, when they lost guys like Barnett, they have just picked up the slack and been so strong through the middle there. And they might even be leading the comp for metres made. And if they are, think about that. If they are leading the comp for metres made, or they're in the top 4 or whatever, that's been most of the season. They've been either missing Barnett or either missing Fisher Harris. And that all is down to guys like Clark, guys like Jackson Ford. And so for me personally, Aaron Clark is my 13 of the season so far, unless someone comes out and has a crazy back end run. But I don't even know who could, because I think Aaron Clark's been out and out the best 13 so far this year. He's my best 13 this year, boys. Yes or no?
Yeah, very hard to argue, to be honest.
No one else coming to mind. Yeah.
I think so. I really think. Matty, what do you reckon, mate?
Sorry, my mic's.
That's all good. Yes or no?
Absolutely. Not even close.
Yeah, I think it's not even close. I think he's been head and shoulders the best 13 this year. So, once again, a huge win for Webster.
Just on Tanner Boyd, I know we've spoken about him a fair bit, but, probably couldn't have picked a better time to bring in a new halfback, given a season-ending injury to the other one. So, obviously, they had the bye last week, so, a week there to kind of get his feet under the desk. Then they had the Tigers this week, Knights next week, and the Titans the week after that. So, 3 fairly winnable games, and they probably kick it up a gear, take on the Dolphins, and then they get the Dogs. So, they kind of I feel like that's a nice kind of runway into getting a new half.
Getting the Dogs just before the finals is perfect.
Yep.
You just get that real measurement of where you're at. So, look, really, really good win for the Warriors. So controlled. The fact that they're missing their starting 7, their starting front row, their starting fullback as well, and they put out a performance like that, that's outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. So the Wires are here, and if they get a top 4 finish, who knows? Who knows what could happen? A little bit similar. I still have the Raiders above them, but a little bit similar to the Warriors where, oh man, I do not want to be going over there playing them in a finals game. With that crowd behind them, with the whole country around them, man, good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Probably get a double header with their New South Wales Cup too. It'll be a fucking nightmare.
Oh, yeah, true. Very true. Before anything, just quickly on the Tigers, just quickly, Hammy, where's your head at with them? They're probably not going to win the Spoon because the Titans have just been so poor, but
yep.
Where's your head at?
Yeah, I'll take that. Top 16 was the goal at the start of the year, tracking nicely. Nice little buffer there at the moment. Look, there's been some flashes of, encouragement. We haven't been able to back it up week on week when we do show some good signs. Like, we might have won a couple, maybe one back-to-back at the start of the year, but you get a bit of hope and then kind of feels like we're taking a step back a bit at the moment. But that said, there's been a lot of noise, a lot of people kind of leaving the club and all that sort of stuff. So we have improved, can't deny that. Would be nice to be a little bit higher up the ladder, but still a couple more winnable games to go, a couple at Leichhardt. We've got the Titans this weekend. So, look, if we had have just turned one or two of those 4-point losses into a win, different story. We're sitting on the edge of the 8, might even be scraping into the 8. So this close to being a lot better, but, unfortunately we weren't able to convert a couple of them.
Are you ruling out a wooden spoon this year?
You're a dog.
No, I'm not.
You want him.
They play
dog,
the Titans this week.
Yeah.
What?
You're a dog. I'm prepared to declare we're top 16 material this year.
Timestamp.
I'm declaring it.
Oh, shit.
Monday the 14th of July. Yep.
Oh, my God. What if Titans tell you up? They're pretty good against
Won't be
Broncos.
happening.
Oh, shit.
Titans
We won't be
beat-
losing. We don't lose the Corey Thompson Cup 2 p.m. on a Sunday at Leichhardt.
Oh, man.
Doesn't happen.
Fuck off, man. I hope so bad. I hope you get 13 plus.
Oh, come on, mate. Save it for Face the Music. I won't be happening.
Fuck.
We'll be doing the 13 plus.
You know what? I'm going to 13 plus Titans just to piss you off, just to get in your head, just for all that disrespect you showed me about some smart punting.
Yeah.
That's what you get. Okay. I got to say, quickly with the Tigers before we move on, the problem is close enough is not good enough. That's the concern. And also, I think the biggest problem for the Tigers, and this is just from my own perspective, my own opinion, is if I'm being honest, I knew you were going to be flat this game. There's no way. I knew you weren't going to back up last week's game with a big performance, and that's a little bit of a concern that I don't know. Am I the only one that felt that way, or
I was hopeful.
You're hopeful?
I was hopeful.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Maybe it's just me, but I just felt like I just don't have faith that you guys are going to back up big performances. At least at this part of the year, I feel like you're getting a bit tight. But anyway, we'll see. Okay. But I will say, for the record, you've improved massively. Compared to last year, it's like night and day. It really is. Okay, on to the next game, Eels versus the Panthers. Look, I've been, critical of Cleary. Definitely, his Origin performances and everything where he's at. So you can go back and listen to all that in podcasts from last week. But I will say, as a fan of Cleary, I was happy to see him smiling. Happy to see, how often have we seen players that play, have these terrible moments in Origin, or just not even terrible, just bad moments or whatever in Origin, and it rattles them and they're struggling for confidence. I've got to say, I really did like seeing him. The crowd was booing him. He smiled. And then just to go on there, and unfortunately, this was the Nathan Cleary show. The game was tight. They brought Nathan Cleary on. He put on a clinic, and then the game was over. And so, look, we all expected that. Everyone knows Nathan Cleary is the best 7 in the game, especially at Clubland. But I was happy for him because, although I can be critical of his performances and be critical of whether he should or shouldn't be selected in Origin, I can still want him to kill it at Clubland as a bloke. And so I was happy to see that. And, mate, he was outstanding.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? He comes out, he plays so well. People want to jump on his back, but it's what do you want him to do? Come back to Clubland
Play bad?
Play shit?
Yeah.
Would you rather?
Would that reinforce your anger at him? Is that what you want?
Yeah, he's now got his eyes set on winning a 5th comp in a row. He's going to come out and play good club footy. And just that try he scored. Fuck. so good to watch. Like, it broke my heart a little bit, I'm not going to lie, but just, like, the way that he just... And I know, like, Papa Lee, he's still getting used to defending in the line and whatnot, but he just had him in all sorts.
Yeah, all sorts. Absolute all sorts. And I will say I actually went back and watched Origin Game 3, and the biggest issue for Cleary was he was too trusting of the system. He just stayed in that system no matter what. Whereas if you looked at Munster and Dearden, they were very reactive to what was happening in front of them. And so it is interesting to see, will that change how Cleary plays at Clubland? Because I think a reactive Cleary at Clubland could be a scary, scary prospect, a really scary prospect. But you're right, like to see the way he just absolutely manipulated Josh Papali, mate, it was a gap like 10 metres wide. Like
They were set. They were sweet.
Yeah, so sweet.
Yeah.
And just went bong, bomb, see you later, try time. And just his control in the game too. Like he just kicking it was great. It's just good to see him back smiling, playing some good footy. And look, I know people will hold this against him as a player for quite a while, but it's, you know, at the end of the day, he has won 4 premierships and he is an incredibly good player. He just hasn't managed to get it done in Origin. It just shows you how hard Origin is.
Yeah, and the pain for the rest of the competition was that losing that Origin was just more fuel for him to come out and be fired up and go, all right, I've missed out on Origin, let's, to a degree, come out and win a 5th premiership, because he'll be so ready to go for it. And I think it's a credit to Nathan Cleary, and to be honest, I expected nothing less. He was class from the post-match through to the end of this game.
Yep.
Like he said after Origin, it's on me. Like he took full responsibility. He said I didn't step up, and I haven't stepped up at certain times in the Origin arena and in deciders. And you know, credit to him. It's easy to sort of shy away from, but he said completely owned it. And he comes out, plays 50 minutes, and he wins Penrith this game essentially again off his own back, sort of thing. So yeah, that try, that was mesmerising. The double unders, and he would have done that to a lot of lineups, not just Papali. And said there was no one near him when he ended up going through the line there. So credit to Ivan as well. I love the way he backed up his players. Again, like an important game for Penrith to win and sort of solidify their spot in the 8 and push for a top 4, but rested a bunch of players, kept a couple of key ones there in Yo and Cleary. You know, played Cleary off the bench in 50 minutes, end of the game. Could have given him an extra 5-10 minutes to finish it off. He said, nah, like, come off, you've done your job. I just thought he handled it fantastic.
Yeah, and I reckon I know they said they always plan to bring him on at 20 minutes, but I reckon if they were toweling him up, I don't think
100%.
he puts him on.
If they were toweling him up, he doesn't play.
Yeah, because even they said, one of the reporters said in the warm-up he looked very casual, like it's almost as if he was like, might not play here. Yeah. I agree with you, mate. I think, if anything, I think the Penrith Panthers have handled Origin outstandingly, because if they don't give them a rest during Origin, they give them a rest somewhere else in the year. And they've done that pretty much every single year. I've got to say, like Isaiah Yeo, you know, again, another guy that Game 3 didn't probably work out for him, but just to come back and back up the way he does, like he doesn't need to do that. And I think, it spoke volumes after the game, him saying, like, sometimes the best thing is just to get back out there and so I think that's, especially being the captain, I think it's smart to get him back out there.
Penrith's Origin period, there's the masters of management and backing their ability. We know how far the 8 they were going into the Origin period. Week 1, which was they had all their Origin players out against Newcastle, they lost 25-6 at Bathurst, sure.
And that was the start of the bounce back because they played so poorly.
Had half the team missing. Then they beat Parramatta 18-10, beat the Tigers 18-14, had a bye for Origin 2. Came out of that, rested all their players over in New Zealand, won 28-18. Beat the Doggies 8-6, had a bye, and then came out this week, rested players again and won 32-10. They lost one game during this period, week 1, without half their side.
They rested twice.
Yeah, so now players are relatively well rested and all systems go to finals.
Mate, look out for this team. Because, like, if you think that Cleary's feeling pain, guess who else is feeling pain then? The whole team. You know, you watched how, teams get around players when they're struggling, and obviously this is a different conversation. But I'm telling you, that team is going to care about Yo. They're going to care about Cleary. And they're going to want to deliver a 5th premiership for them. They have motivation now. They've got clear motivation. Okay, we were struggling to find 5 times in a row. Well, right now, your 2 key players, a lot of people are saying that they're not Origin players. They're not the best in the world, and they can't handle the big moments. It sounds a bit weird thinking about a guy that's won 2 Clive Churchills, but it is what it is. So this is a scary Penrith side with a lot to prove. In regards to performances, I mean, it starts at Alamotti for me. What the hell? That little grubber that he put in around the edge, and I think they ended up scoring maybe on the left or wherever they ended up scoring, but like adding in that to his game And just the way Ivan has handled his season, he got dropped earlier this season. And now all of a sudden he's back playing this kind of footy. He was outstanding.
Paul Alamotti. What are you talking about?
Yeah, Alamotti.
Yeah, mate, he's not going to be in the team next week.
It's crazy.
He's still, like Brian To'o will come back in. He'll lose his spot. It's insane. Like him and Tom Jenkins, watching that clash all year. Sorry, I take that back. He'll probably stay in the side because Isaac Tunga is going to be out for a week. But he's not in their first choice.
Mate, he was phenomenal. He was so good.
He was great. Just once again, just the depth they're building is crazy. I thought Isaac Tunga as well, whilst he comes up, I thought he was great.
He's
his
phenomenal.
Best game in a few weeks.
Yeah,
Probably
Tunga
a few
was
months,
great.
actually.
Mate, Tunga was outstanding. And once again, as we lead into finals footy, all of a sudden he seems to get everything sorted. And then he has a great final series. Does it every friggin' year. Every year he's just like, oh, Tunga was, not getting, and then just finals coming around, he just kills it. And what's crazy is like, in round 5, I would have said, I said it. I said my concern is their depth is like not there in the outside backs. It's literally non-existent. All of a sudden, 19 rounds later or 15 rounds later, it's like guys like Alamotti won't make the side. They've managed to bring Talangi in. They've managed to bring Jenkins in, Milky. They've managed to bring in Tunga back to great form. Casey McLean had the game of his life a few weeks ago. He's been so confident since then. All of a sudden, like Dane Laurie's there for Edwards when he's not there. Like their depth in the outside back goes from literally their biggest concern to now one of their biggest strengths.
Yep.
It's crazy. Once again, Penrith, whatever they are doing there to upskill their players, it's some of the best I've ever seen.
They're 5 points out of the 8 still. Out of the 4. So the reality is they probably missed the 4 and finish 5th or 6th. Imagine just week 1 of finals coming up against Penrith.
Like imagine if the Dolphins sneak into the 8 and they're like, we made the 8 for the first time. Week 1, Penrith.
Even week 2, whoever loses out of, like the top 4's looking pretty set. It could change, but Raiders, Storm, Dogs, Warriors, one of those teams after a huge year, week 2, there's every chance they play Penrith. You're just going, oh.
That's the bigger concern, being the week 2 side.
Yeah, because
this team's been dead in the water for half the year.
Yeah.
We're just coming off a huge game. We've been beaten either in Canberra and Melbourne, then you have to come back and play fucking Penrith.
It could actually be the Broncos when you think about it.
In
week 2, if they get through week 1.
Well, Broncos and Penrith, lots can change, but they're looking like they'll be 5th and 6th. So they won't play each other. No, they won't play each other till they'll avoid each other.
Yeah.
If that's the case.
Are you saying the Bronx, you think they could finish 4th?
No, I'm saying like if Penrith or Bronx move in that top 8,
Gotcha. Yeah.
they're 2 of the better sides. If they don't play each other week 1, they could play each other week 2 potentially. They play the prelim sides, don't
One
they?
of them would have to make the 4.
Yeah.
So 5th plays 8th, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Panthers have to come 8th. So yeah, they're probably not going to play each other then. I will say though, 5th to 8th, the fact that you've got the Broncos and Penrith there, and maybe the Roosters, fuck. That's tough. That's tough.
Well, to be with all due respect to the Manly Seagulls in 7th at the moment, I want the Sharks to have that spot. Then your bottom 4 is Brisbane, Penrith, Cronulla, Roosters. 4 pretty good sides.
This final series
could be hectic.
So wide open.
Could be hectic. Yeah, absolutely. Because any team can beat any team in that top 8.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, in regards to performances, we spoke about him before, but like Thomas Jenkins, what the fuck? What happened with this bloke? I mean, look, is he translucent nearly? Yes. But can he play rugby league? Yes, he can. I want to see him just one game, just covered in fake tan. Imagine if he turned hot.
You just woke up one morning in pre-season this year and went, I'm going to become an immortal. And it starts this year.
The GOAT Jenkins on the edge there.
He's been so good.
It's going to be To'o and Jenkins, wing immortals, because this guy is so friggin' good, man. Mate, again, I've always spoken about how I always believe we've got enough talent, we just don't have enough good systems. And I feel like Jenkins is more evidence of that because this guy was a local leaguer at the start of this year.
To'o may not be the best winger at his own club. Big Jenkins.
And he was he didn't look like he was up to first grade standard last year at the Newcastle Knights. Comes back down to Penrith, who already let him go.
Because they had too many players.
Insane.
Just crazy.
And playing on the wing now, doing good things. He got into the side because he was dominating at centre in reserve grade.
Yep. Yeah.
And at that point, they were trying to, Blaze was playing centre on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of Blaze, I know he didn't necessarily have his best game. I thought he was so brave, though, because Zach Lomax, mate, seeing Blaze's head rock back the amount of times he did, I was just like, okay, we're going to see him just take the easy option here with when he tackles. He didn't once. He really didn't back down once.
Yeah, I was okay with Blaze. Mate, I thought he just went hard in this game. I think there would have been a lot of things that Ivan would have gone, okay, you wouldn't have done that 15 weeks ago. There's no way you would have put your head there in 15 weeks ago.
Yeah,
And I'll tell you what
I thought he was really brave.
On paper, you're like, oh, not the hardest matchup, and we'll get to him shortly. But Charlie Geimer was a wrecking ball in this game on the edge. He was outstanding. He was he was throwing everything at Blaze.
Yeah, and he just kept turning up. And I think if you had one question, heading to Penrith is is he going to have the same mental toughness as a lot of these other boys? Mate, absolutely he does. Absolutely. As I said, the amount of times his head got rocked back from being bumped and he just kept hanging in there. And in the end, towards the end, he nearly he had a line break there towards the end, I think. So it's a really good sign. I still would love to see him at fullback. I don't know. I just think him with open space. Obviously, he's not going to take Edwards' spot, at least in the short term. But, mate, when he gets moving, he is just electric. Absolutely.
He is a fullback. There's no... He's finding his way at 5'8". It doesn't look like it comes naturally to him by any means. Defensively, especially, is where he sort of struggles. But I still think Penrith are going to get it right with him long term. I think he's come a long way in the first, 20-odd weeks in this competition.
Could you see Edwards, going to Super League in 3 years and he becomes a fullback potentially?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because Edwards is, 30 now? 27?
He's 29.
29. Okay. But yeah, I thought he was super brave. Isn't Casey McLean just getting confident? I know Zach Lomax stuck his leg out and he managed to stop that little grubber, but that little grubber was going to land perfectly, absolutely perfectly. I thought Lindsay Smith was great.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think.
Didn't play big minutes in this one, but the more I see of this Pateo off the bench, the more I like. There's something there.
He's great.
Oh, mate, absolutely. I will say, and I'm probably going to be in the minority here, and I know it's a small thing. I'm not having a crack at the refs, but that Garner one where he ran Iongi off the ball, and they said it was shoulder to shoulder. I thought that was a penalty. He didn't even try to go for the ball. I remember which one I'm talking about.
I do, but I didn't watch it carefully enough.
Yeah, okay.
I remember it happening.
Yeah. I swear.
I remember looking at it going, a bit iffy, but...
Because, Iongi's reaching for the ball. Luke Garner doesn't even reach for the ball. He just puts his shoulder straight into him and he knocks him straight off the ball. Anyway, not a big deal. Obviously, it didn't change anything. I will say, I was a bit surprised at the commentators being Brown basically needs to go from the club.
Jeez, they carried on.
They were fully into it. I was like, what? Surely they see what's happening here. Brown's not going to be here next year. They're giving a young guy an opportunity. Yeah, it was maybe they were told to kind of it's a big talking point, so get people going or whatever. But I was a bit surprised at what was obviously pretty clear what was going on.
They just went on and on and on about it.
I thought it was hilarious, Brown strapping his ears. That was so fucking funny. But yeah, look, Penrith Panthers, are they at the heights we've seen in past? I don't think so. I don't think they're at those heights. But are they building towards something like that? Maybe, because you got to remember, they were missing, I know the Eels were missing Mitchell Moses or whatever, but they were missing Liam Martin, Dylan Edwards. These are key men to their side. And obviously Cleary didn't play the first 20 minutes. I mean, what would the score been if Cleary plays the first 20?
A lot to not many.
A lot to not many. Now, onto the Eels. I got to say, Lomax's defence is becoming a real concern for me on the edge there. He's been so good since coming there, and he's still a bloody good player. But obviously, we saw him attacked on the wing in Origin. Then there were at least one, maybe two really strange reads. I think there was two actually. The one towards the end where he ran out and went for the intercept or something like that. The problem here is for Lomax is now that it's kind of been talked about a lot. Every video session is going to be look at Lomax. All right, boys, we're going to Lomax every set. So it's either going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy or he's going to fix it. But I'm just getting a little bit worried for him in that case.
I think he is just such a confidence player that last year everything was going so well, it just flows. And now that he is starting to hit a few rocky spots, I I think he is in his own head a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that goal kicking in Origin, I think that rattled him pretty
Yeah.
heavily too. So
Understandable, to be honest. Like, you know, I'm sure he sits there and goes, if I kicked those goals game 2, like, you know.
yeah. And you know,
sucks. It's not
I
on
think
him.
it's fair to say whether you want to say it's his fault or not, whatever. But when he does play poorly, he cops it more than other guys in this competition.
There's
He's
almost-
definitely targeted in that regard.
Yeah, there's
Like,
almost like people waiting for him to play poorly
Yes.
because he did play not great at the start of his career, went to these new heights.
Yeah.
And there is a portion that are like, see, you're not as good as we
And
do.
I think there's also a portion that, because people like us have been talking about him for a long time about the potential, and people didn't really see it, that when he does hit it, people are just so excited to see him fall off it as well.
Yeah.
Well, the moment of the game, like you look at the scoreboard and you go, all right, you know, this is a dominant Penrith win. And, you know, like it looked it during the game, but Penrith are up 18-10 and they went down that edge. They hit Lomax with an open line, which he scores 99 times out of 100 and he put it down.
And they went up and
That
scored.
would have been 18-14, kick to come. Yeah. Tommy Jenkins runs upfield. Alamotti scores in the corner, 22-10, game over.
Like it was a 12-point drop ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The game could have been, the finish was going to be very different if he caught that ball.
Yeah. I think you're probably spot on, Roo. Like, I think he's probably just a bit rattled from everything.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think I understand fans when they sit there and go, oh, come on, mate, you're paid these big bucks to handle these big moments and, you know, just move straight on from Origin. But, look, obviously I've never been in it, but I just, until you've been in the Origin arena and you've had a big loss and maybe you've made an error in that situation, you've got the whole state watching. You cannot escape. Like, as much, you could turn social media off, you could do everything you possibly could to escape the criticism so that your headspace is okay. It'll get back to you somehow, some way, whether it's a family, whether it's a friend, people talking crap to your kids or your brothers, your sisters or whatever. And so, you know, I think you might be onto something there, Roo. Maybe he's just a bit shell-shocked with everything. Like, he was at the highest of highs last year, one of the players of the series. Game 1, I think it was actually a pretty good game 1, if I recall correctly. It was all right, except obviously the kicking. Oh, no, Cleary was the kicker. Did he kick the last one and he missed?
Yeah, he missed the last one.
Yeah.
Game 2, obviously, not great. Game 3 didn't work out. So, yeah, you might be on something there, mate.
I think, you know, him being a confidence player, as I said, I think when you see Mitch Moses walk back into this team in 2 weeks' time, I think that'll give Zach a huge lift again.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Mate, I thought Bailey Simonson, I mean, I've always been a big fan of Simonson. He was outstanding. That flick pass that he threw, holy. I didn't know he had it in him, honestly. I didn't know he had that in him.
Just needs to stay on the field, doesn't he?
Yeah. If he stays injury-free, their backline is set.
Yeah.
Set.
And that, especially like you look at, you know, maybe some defensive lapses from Lomax, but it's a new centre in him each week. The half seems to change every couple of weeks. Not every couple of weeks, shouldn't be that harsh, but lots of new halves changes and just combinations. If they can keep like a Simonson, as you said, can be Simonson Lomax combination on the edge. Oof.
Mate, that can build into something special. They can be an absolute problem for teams. I thought unfortunately, like, I love Junior. He's a legend, Junes, and you know he's been so good from this year, but unfortunately, he's had a bad game.
Junior and Jacko.
Ooh, that
Puma
miss.
boy, that miss on Tungo.
Oh.
Through 2 front rollers that had a perfect shot at him. Like
I kind of get that they banged heads.
Yeah.
So, like, did that one... Everything that went wrong could go wrong. You know, they wrapped around the back of him, hit each other's heads and that, but still tough.
Charlie Geimer. I thought he was outstanding in this. Played on the edge, and I was sort of like, oh, he's in edge, he's in middle, what's his best position? But got the start in this game. I think he may have started last week as well, but... that hard line run he was doing, he had a bit of ball playing there as well, which was quite refined, and he was brilliant.
Yeah. Played his juniors on the edge. I think that is his best spot. Definitely.
How good's his line?
Yeah. And I think he won a SG Ball grand final, Parramatta. They got to the grand final. He was playing on the right edge and he was damaging as all hell out there. I think it is his spot.
Yeah. I thought their end of sets were not great as well. I thought Hawkins made a few errors end of set, which didn't help him. It's weird because when you actually watch the game, it was way closer for at least 60 anyway. For about 60 to 5 minutes or so, it was a relatively close affair. And like as an Eels fan, you could take a lot out of that. Just when you look at the score, you're like, geez, that ended up being a bit of a...
And also, mate, when looking at it, all things being equal, fullback played at 5'8". You're 5'8" for the last 5 years, started at hooker, then went off. a hooker who's never been at your club before came on and played big minutes at 9. Like, there's a lot of changes.
Yeah. We'll say Iongi again. Jesus, mate. He's so good. Yeah. He's so electric. Like, multiple try savers. His ball running is just like electric. Just electric.
Even, mate, the Alamotti try that he scored in the corner, like, where Iongi came from on that play, for him to be anywhere near that was crazy.
Yeah. I think he was in the tackle on the other side of the field, the play before.
Marker. Insane.
And he just got on his bike like, mate, he is. I just can't get over how electric he is over a few metres. Like, his footwork and speed in a small little bracket of a metre or two. It reminds me a lot of Tuivasa-Sheck's footwork in a small little bracket where you can be like, let's say there's a little 2 minute, not even, let's say a metre and a half square like that. He can beat you in that metre and a half because he makes you make the wrong decision in that metre and a half. He doesn't need a big step. He doesn't need an extra 3 metres inside you and that's what makes RTS so good and always makes line breaks when he scoots in that, or at least pokes his nose through, is because like when you're running up against forwards, if you only need half a metre to break through, then you're going to break a lot of tackles. Whereas if you need a metre or two, there's always going to be forwards either side of him. And that's what Iongi does. Like, in very small spaces, he just moves like so well. But yeah, look, rebuild year. Panthers came back with Cleary. Okay, let's on to the next game. Gold Coast Titans versus the Brizzy Broncos. Look, I hate to kind of almost repeat myself with the Brisbane Broncos, but yeah, I'm stoked with the win. Great stuff. But like, once again, they don't play for the 80 minutes. There was like a long period where the Titans defended their hearts out and were like a very brave effort. And so I've got to give credit to the Broncos for not losing their heads and getting impatient. But mate, when you look at field position and how many times they were held up over the line, they should have won bloody 40-10. But look, they got the win. It is a little bit alarming that we haven't been able to put 80 minutes together. Had like 11 errors in the first half or something, but they got the win. So look, I'll take it.
I don't know if I was just end of the weekend and tired from Origin and whatnot, but geez, this was just a nothing game to me.
It wasn't good. It wasn't.
Like, Titans never looked like winning it. Yeah. Brisbane never looked like losing it, but Brisbane didn't play well.
No, it was an ugly affair.
It was just nothing doing.
Yeah. It was an ugly affair. I actually think Titans are pretty brave, to be honest.
Yeah, I think the only thing you really take for them, it's like, all right, we know Brisbane have points in them. You defended relatively well. You showed a bit of backbone. Didn't allow too many opportunities in there. But as I said, it's at the end of the day, like, whether or not Brisbane are premiership threats, I don't know. I think at their best, we all think they can be, but we haven't really seen anything like that this year. They should be winning this game well.
It's so strange. Like, they're literally, close to a top 4 finish, and you're still like, you know what I mean? Like, it's top 4 finish. It's a bloody good, but they just haven't seemed to. They're 5 on the trot. They've won 5 on the trot.
My thing is, like, again, I know they've shown a bit of consistency with the 5 on the trot, but there's been some softer games and some not the best performances in there, this one included. Okay, if they finish outside the 4, which it looks that way at the moment, they could make a late charge. They're just going to have to win 4 on the trot, and I don't know if they've got it in them.
Yeah. Also, I looked at just like some of their decisions. Like, the game is relatively on the line. Reynolds kicking on the 3rd tackle. The score was 2-2. Like, the amount of times they are willing to kick on like the 2nd and 3rd tackle is insane. Yeah. Ezra Mann comes out second half. I think it was the first tackle. Throws this crazy cutout ball. Karapani gets bundled into touch. Surely Madge isn't telling them to do that, but they just do it every week. They do it every week.
I feel like I've said to you before, early in the year, Kempy, but like, Reece Walsh has been outstanding since he's been back, and the amount of energy he's brought to this lineup is unreal. Just short kicking game. Leave it to Adam Reynolds.
Oh,
he's the best at it. Give it to him.
At the back end of the game, he was kicking everything, and I'm just.
Why?
But you know what frustrates me with that? That's not Reece's fault. That's Reynolds' fault. Reynolds is a senior player.
Make the call.
Make the call, mate. Yeah. Like, come on. Like, I know you don't want to clip anyone's wings, but it's like, you're a captain and you're the best kicker in the comp.
Yeah, override him.
Like, override him. Say, Walshy, get back in your position, mate. Give me the ball. Now, look, maybe Renault's got a bad groin. If that's the case, that's fair enough. But
short kicking game, though, should be fine.
Come on. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Especially, does that not start to lean towards coaching, and that's just what they're doing. Like, surely you don't need Adam to tell Adam Reynolds, hey, override and take control of the kicking game. You're the
Yeah,
best,
it's fair.
best kicker of a football we've ever seen, essentially.
I will say though, Renault, he is like, he's very much suits this crop of Broncos players. Like, he's not a harsh leader that, would overcall things a lot, I don't think. Like, I think that, his leadership very much suits this younger generation right now. I mean, you see, like, we'll put it this way. You reckon, let's say, a different kind of captain, how would they go at the Broncos? They'd be blowing up every set. Like, if you had an old school captain at the Broncos, they would be losing their minds every single set at the players that do all these. Whereas Renault doesn't really, you can see it. You see the footage. He doesn't get angry. He just, he's doing it too. He kicks on the third tackle. He throws the crazy cutout pass on the first tackle as well. But yeah, look, they got the win. They're 5 on the trot. That's a good thing. The scary thing for the rest of the competition is if they can make it click for 80 minutes, if they do come out, they're going to be like someone's bogey team. Like, there's a chance they knock out, like, let's say they make the top 4. There's a chance they just somehow knock out the Storm or something like that. Just some crazy performance. But can they do it 3 or 4 games in a row? That's going to be their biggest question.
Got a bye this weekend, then they've got 2 games that I expect them to win, Parramatta and South, I think it is. Thursday, 7th of August, Melbourne versus Brisbane, Amy Park, Thursday night.
Huge test.
Yeah.
Huge test to see where they're at. But look, got the job done. I thought Staggs was outstanding. I've got to say, the one big takeaway from this game, the fact they left Verrills on the field, I just, clubs want to, chest beat and talk about, we care about the players' health and whatever. What do you gain by leaving a player out there for an extra 10 minutes other than a bit of extra minutes from that player and then you get to sub someone else on? And this isn't just the Titans. Every club is guilty of it. When you see a knockout that bad, get him off the field. You do not need an independent doctor to tell you that bloke is concussed. It's ridiculous. And all it is if you want the NRL to be even harsher on head knocks, if you want the NRL to be even harsher on all this stuff when we're missing the stars in our game, keep doing stuff like that. Keep doing it. Drives me insane because stuff like that's what opens you up for litigation in the future.
Yeah, and rinse and repeat for Matt Burton the night before too. That was fucked. He was staggering around for 3 or 4 tackles like Bambi. That was unbelievable.
Look, I don't understand it. The one thing, look, if you pass tests or whatever, okay, I'll wear that with the Burton one. Like, if I have to. What I won't wear is when a guy is completely knocked out and you continue to allow him to play for 10 minutes. Get him off the field. You know he's knocked out, but you're keeping him on there for selfish reasons.
And also, not that it should matter at all. It should be all about player welfare from the get-go when you can tell, but the independent doctor's about to come in anyway. It's like you get a couple extra minutes.
You get a few extra minutes for what? But like, what happens if that next tackle, something happens? It makes no sense. And it's like, if you want to pretend you care about the players, bullshit. If you're leaving him on for an extra few minutes when he's been lights out, it's bullshit that you care about players. It drives me insane. Like, as I said, listen, if they look terrible, then they pass everything, hands up. I'm not a doctor, I don't know. But I tell you what, if someone's completely out, you can see it, and the independent doctor's going to pull him off, get him off yourself. Drives me insane. Pia Cora got taken straight off, with his head knock. Maybe it was the independent doctor. I don't know whoever it was, but at least he got taken straight off. Now, that was even more dramatic. Poor fella.
He had carpet burn.
Mate, he can't catch a break, that poor guy.
Can't.
He cannot catch a break. Such a brave effort. I got to say, I can't believe that wasn't a try. Since where, like, it rolled from this hand into this hand. Like, it never left contact. Since when has that not been a try? I don't, like, when have we been watching each hand? Like, anyway, whatever. Some of the calls this weekend, seriously. I reckon, I haven't spoken about it all game, but we have a reffing standard problem in the NRL. And I think Origin showed that massively. Okay, now onto the Titans. Look, it's just a disaster, unfortunately. They need a complete overhaul of everything. I don't even mind the whispers about changing of jerseys. Now, maybe don't change. They could just do a tweak on the colours. I'm not sure. I don't mind the colours connected to Gold Coast, but they need a change of everything, and they need a very clear path forward because they're going to lose Tino otherwise, because this whole Desi Hasler thing just has not worked. Has not worked.
What's the jersey? They're considering changing the colours of the Gold Coast Titans?
Just the jerseys, period. Like a full overhaul. Almost like a brand, like still be called the Gold Coast Titans, but a brand new club.
What's that achieve?
Well, it's a refreshing of, like, jerseys mean things. It means something. That jersey right now, what's the history of that jersey? It means nothing. So they're trying to start anew with a fresh start of what it means. I'll tell you, put it this way, I reckon the Dolphins jersey has more history in it than the Titans one.
Yeah, but that's a club that's been around for...
But, okay, who has played with more ticker in their first 3 years? Like, who can you guarantee plays a style of footy more, Titans or Dolphins? Like, they've got no culture at the moment. Zero culture.
I don't know. Sounds like a coat of paint fix to me.
It's not just the jersey. It's everyone's. Like, there's...
And the jersey sounds like a coat of paint fix though. Like,
but it's not going to be just the jersey. There's people get, like, administration clean outs, everything. Like, a whole new clean out of the thing and a fresh start. Jerseys mean, like, I know you guys think it's just a paint thing. Jerseys mean something. Jerseys mean a lot. Like, it would be, I think it'd be a smart idea. Fresh start. You're playing for something new and fresh. You don't have the baggage of the old jersey. Right now, that old Gold Coast Titan jersey, it represents being okay with not making the 8. It represents footy that's, willy-nilly. We don't defend. Yes, in the early period, there were some bloody good players that played for the Titans, but for the last decade, it's just been... That jersey doesn't hold any weight, in my opinion. And I like the idea. Branding, icons, all that kind of stuff, iconography... That's been a part of movements since the start of history. It's an important part of a club. So I actually don't mind it. But anyway, in regards to the team, like, I thought they were super brave, but I didn't ever feel like they were going to win the game.
Yeah, I didn't feel like they were in this one at any point either. The Broncos weren't playing well, and I was never in any doubt the Broncos were going to win that game.
I just felt like the Broncos, you could see they were controlling it. Like, Broncos knew at some point they're just going to go boom, boom, try, game over.
And if the Titans came back and it got within 6 or whatever, Brisbane would have switched on and gone, they just said bang, bang.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't need to because they were in cruise control.
They really were.
Chris Randall's the standout for me. He's out of nowhere become like one of the most versatile forwards in the game.
Yeah,
it's been playing 9, 13 now. He's like a hard line running edge back rower. I think Randall's been awesome.
Yeah, he had an absolute Barry Crocker a couple of weeks ago, but outside of that, I'm with you, mate. I think he's outstanding. I've always been a big fan of him. I actually like him at 13. I think he actually offers quite a lot in this modern game at 13, but for some reason, Desi Hazard doesn't want to play him there. I think you put Tino in the front row, Randall at 13. I've always been a big fan of that.
The commentators kept calling him Bo Fermor when he'd run a hard line. I'm like, well, that says it all, because Fermor does run one of the best lines in the game.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Geez, doesn't Bo Fermor, win, lose or draw, he's still going to give you 130 metres a game.
Yeah, he's a cracker.
He's such a good player. But yeah, it's just a disaster. And the Desi Hasler stuff, maybe I'll have to go back and watch it, but I am getting a little bit frustrated with this, like, I'm not going to retire, and like, I'm not going to go anywhere, and like, mate, come on. Like, give me a break. Like, the club is clearly leaking that so you can make this an amicable parting of ways. And look, is it good that the club's leaking it? But they already have every right to, because he can't make the 8. So it's just like, just go at least work with the club in this scenario where they're trying to make it a nice farewell for a coach that has a great history. They're trying to respect you, and you're going out kicking and screaming. Maybe I've got it wrong, boys, but I don't like it. Like, at least work with them in this, especially when it apparently has in your contract that if you make the 8, they can get rid of you.
So that's in his contract.
Reportedly. Apologies if that's wrong, but that's reported.
Do any of us see him there next year?
No way. No way.
I don't think so.
Who are they going to?
Go get Hannay. Get someone. Fuck. I get Hannay.
Fuck. God, it's been a long wait for Hannay and a lot of close jobs to get the Titans gig.
Yeah, I know. I get Hannay. Maybe Kevy Walters is the man. I don't really know. As I said, I think they need a complete refresh. Because I don't know what that club represents anymore.
I'll tell you, the guy that we give raps to probably every 2 to 3 weeks, but Brian Kelly, my God, he had a tough day out. 5 errors, 7 missed tackles. Calm Piera sitting on the bench. I think that's a change that has to be made.
They put Jalen DeGroot on the wing. He's a small fullback.
Like, what's their issue with Calm Pereira? I don't get it. Like, okay, sometimes he let it try, and he scores every single week.
Yeah, you're going to leak points regardless. You may as well score a few to go with it.
Yeah, fuck, I don't get it.
And without getting into it again, but even when you're looking long term, like, You got a fullback playing wing. You got a winger sitting on the bench. You could be playing that fullback at fullback. You've just signed him to a long deal. You could be playing Brimson with Campbell, getting them ready for the future. Like, mate, hearing Foz talk after the game. Did anyone hear that interview?
No.
Oh, he just sort of said, "Oh, you're happy with the decision?" He went, "Yep."
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's like, "Yeah, mate, my body is just not feeling the same."
Must be a disaster there.
Oh, mate, like that just says to me that's a guy that if you were to put him at 14 or whatever, I don't think Foz would kick up a stink about it.
No.
I just look like Phil Sammy, such a good footballer. He had an awful miss on Tony Staggs in this one, but I'm just like, yeah, no shit. Like, they make him switch from left to right every second week and from centre to wing to centre. Like, at least try and keep the bloke on an edge.
And that's the thing, like, yes, of course, you hold these players accountable, no doubt. But, mate, Desi Hazard has been changing this side. Like, any opportunity he gets, he's been changing this side. Like, I think he's lost it. I think Desi's just lost it. I really do. And, he's had an incredible career. But for the life of me, I can't believe the amount of back changes. Like, backs are usually the easiest thing to select. You got a left and right, a left, centre and winger. You got a right, centre and winger, and you leave them there. Like, why does it need to change that much?
Every week, something new.
I don't get it.
Not always injury enforced either. That's a thing.
And like De Groot getting put to the wing. You're telling me De Groot's a better winger than Khan Pereira? What? And De Groot just signed a 3-year deal as well.
Along with Keeney on a 5-year deal.
Bro, they need a whole reset. And this is a club that needs to make the call of not just a half reset or like, we'll try and make it work with a full reset. And if you're not on board, then, and funnily enough, I actually think some of these players, they will go to another clubs and kill it. Aaron Clark's probably going to win a Dally M. I don't need to name it. You guys know all the friggin' players that have left. I mean, look at Fogarty right now. Like, Raiders are arguably, if not the premiership heavyweight, second right now.
And you'd have to just think, if they're lacking direction now, next year when Foz isn't around, it's terrifying.
And then if Tino puts his hand up and says, I'm out, if Campbell doesn't re-sign, which I'm hearing some kind of whispers that hasn't happened or getting close to yet, if you're Campbell, why would you want to stay there? If you're Tino, why would you want to stay there?
Basket case.
Like, it's just...
Well, there's so many of those guys that you mentioned, like AJ, Jaden Campbell, who love the area. And I respect that, but fuck, look around.
Get out.
You got a 10-year career to make the best out of it. Don't just lock yourself into this basket case that is just going nowhere fast.
So the reports are that the Frizzell Group has bought majority ownership, which means that they have now power to make the calls they want to make, which I like. I think that they need a strong hand there that's going to make some tough calls and just completely rebuild this joint. And I think they need to have some pain early to have success later. Their juniors that they've got are phenomenal juniors. Haas was from on the Gold Coast. Like, when you actually go and look at the players that were playing on Gold Coast schools and that, it's like ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. Another tough loss for the Titans. Okay, Face Some Music brought to you by friends over at Sportsbet.
We're back to 8 games this weekend. God. You ready for that? 8 games of NRL. Kicking off on Thursday night at Suncorp. Dolphins $1.56 host the Titans. Host the Cowboys $2.44. The line is 4.5 points.
Trust the Cowboys will probably come out and friggin' belt them. You know what? I'll go. But will Peyton drop a bunch of blokes? That's a tough one.
This game is so hard. Like, Marky Nichols is out, Finny Fuiaki's out, so the Dolphins are even more depleted.
And if Peyton puts a broom through him,
so hard,
then you don't know. But if he goes full strength, he could 13 plus it. I'll go Cowboys 13 plus.
Cows
$6.
plus.
What'd you have? Cows 13 plus?
Yeah.
$6.
Oh God, I'll just go Dolphins to cover.
I'll go Dolphins head-to-head.
Yep, $1.56. I'll take Dolphins to cover the 4.5 as well. Then Friday, 6 p.m. at Shark Park. Sharks $1.64. Chookies $2.27. The line is 2.5 points.
Roosters head-to-head.
I'm going to jump on a little Sharky's bed shit and go Roosters 13 plus.
5.40.
I'll go Roosters 1 to 12.
3.35.
I'll just go Sharks head-to-head.
$1.64. I'll go Roosters head-to-head, $2.27. Next game on Friday, Panthers $1.22. Host the Rabbitohs $4.30. The line is 12.5 points.
I'm going to go Panthers head-to-head.
$1.22. You're a disgrace.
Oh, you serious?
Oh, yeah.
Bunnies 1 to 12.
5:30.
Bunnies 1 to 12. Wow. I'll go-
Oh, you're swinging for the fence.
Staring down the barrel of another nudie run there, Roo.
Jesus. Jeez.
I'll
What
just say
must...
close.
I'll go Panthers to cover.
I'll go South to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take Panthers 13 plus, $1.83. Raiders $1.27. Host
Oh,
the
Hammy, you've cost yourself.
Yeah,
Panthers minus 12
it's locked in. It's locked in.
That's how confident I am. I don't care. Well, I'll put it in minus 12.5. Raiders $1.27. Host the Eels $3.82. The line in this one is 11.5 points.
I'll go Raiders head to head.
$1.27.
Raiders 1 to 12.
3.05.
I'll go Raiders 13 plus.
$1.91.
Raiders minus the line.
Yeah, I'm going to take Raiders to cover the 11.5 as well. Dogs $1.34. Host the Dragons $3.30. 8.5 is the line.
I'm going to go Dragons head to head.
$3.30.
Good on you, mate.
Dragons 1 to 12.
$4.20.
Dogs to cover.
Yep.
Dogs head to head.
$1.34. I might go for a bit of value here as well. I'll go Dragons. Actually, nah. Dogs minus 8.5. Storm $1.35. Host the Seagulls $3.25. The line is 8.5 points down at Amy Park.
Storm head to head.
$1.35.
Manly 1 to 12.
$4.20.
Storm to cover.
Yep.
Manly 1 to 12.
Storm to cover for me as well. Then we go to Leichhardt on Sunday. Tigers $1.51. Titans $2.58. The line is 5.5 points.
Titans 13 plus.
$6.50.
Yep, same.
Jeez.
Maybe you can't do 13 plus Titans. Get off. Fuck this guy.
No, yuck.
You're a cat.
I'll go the Tigers
Oh my god.
1 to 12.
Suck up.
$2.85.
Suck up.
Tigers minus the line.
Yes, Tigers minus 5.5 for me as well. Then we've got the Knights, $2.79. Host the Warriors, $1.45. 6.5 points is the line.
I'll go Waz head to head.
$1.45. Jeez.
I will go Knights 1 to 12.
$3.80.
Warriors 1 to 12.
$2.75.
Warriors head to head.
Jeez, you're swinging
$1.45.
for the fences today, Roo.
I will go Warriors to cover the 6.5. That's us for round 20.
Okay, that's us done and dusted. All thanks to Sportsbet. Give us a follow on the feed. Outside of that, grab some grumpy coffee. I'm heading to Vegas tomorrow morning for the Zoo Fundora fight too. All thanks to Kayo. I cannot wait. Thanks for listening. We'll go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.